record a video, and audio is now going, and we're off to the races in 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome to Core. This is Core episode 375, and the date is Thursday, July 20th, 2023. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. Last week, Bo and I hosted the show without John. John had dad duty. Went well, I guess, right, John? Everything went fine?
I'm still here. He's still here.
Good.
Mission accomplished.
Everybody was fed.
It had some rough patches, but, we got through it.
Yeah.
I learned a true secret of parenting. Solo parenting,
Okay.
I should say.
Sure.
This is what I've learned. You wake up every morning and you give yourself a goal, but not in the way most people give themselves a goal. Most people will be like, I want to clean the house today, or I want to wash the car, or I want to do the laundry. You give yourself I'm responsible for a young child goal, which is knowing that he is going to act as a roadblock to every desire you possibly have. So it becomes, I'm not going to clean the house. I'm going to clean this room and do an okay job of it.
Sure.
And that will be a day-long task.
Yeah.
And it will take an entire day to do an okay job of cleaning one small room. But you know what? It'll keep you busy. The day will go fast. You'll have fun with the kid. The kid will have fun getting in your way and preventing it from happening and spilling stuff the second you put it away. And it'll be a good time. And you get through it and you roll with the punches.
That's right. That's right.
I had a good time.
That's good. I think one day he'll look back and go, I remember that week with Dad where, I ate stickers or whatever that was. I saw that video you put up where he's eating stickers, or trying to eat stickers or pretending he's eating stickers. I wasn't quite sure.
That came out of nowhere. I've never seen him do it before. And he just all of a sudden we were like, hey, buddy, you ready for bed? And he goes and kneels down and just starts going. And he's like smacking his lips and like being real selective about which fake flower he's going to eat. And he went around and he ate all these fake flowers and then sat up.
Yeah.
Good.
He knows what's good.
Good acting. Don't tell him that everybody's on strike in Hollywood, because I think his hopes and dreams will be crushed.
Ooh, he'll get called a scab for doing free work.
I don't want him to be a scab.
Yeah, it can't be a scab in this world. So last week when I did the show with Bo, we had a great time. We missed you, of course, but I had this thing I talked about at the top of the show where a guy walked by while I was on my porch playing Hot Shots Golf on the PSP, although I was playing it on my Steam Deck. Anyway, you get the idea. I was emulating that game on my Steam Deck, and I was playing it, and the guy walked by, and he goes, hey, you playing Fortnite? That was the thing, right? We talked about this story.
Yep.
Same guy came walking by the house yesterday. I'm out there again. I wasn't playing anything. I was on my phone. And he walked out, and he's on the other side of the street, so a little farther. He's going the other direction, and he goes, hey, it's Fortnite guy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Scott. I love that this has made you Fortnite guy to him.
It's just like I'm as far from Fortnite guy as you can be. John's the Fortnite guy if there is one here at the show at all. And I don't know why he remembered to even say that. That's really weird.
But this guy's you know what this guy is? He's a nicknameosaurus.
Is that what it is?
Well, those are the people that just do that shit.
I guess so.
It's
He invented
probably
it. He
a good
didn't ask
trait
you.
to be able to differentiate people. As somebody who has a hard time with names and dates,
But Scott
and
never
stuff like
confirmed
that,
he was playing
like,
Fortnite. It's not even
locking a quality onto somebody. You go, all right, that's Fortnite guy. Now he knows.
Now he knows he's Fortnite guy.
The Fortnite guy.
Yeah.
It's a little misinformed.
Yeah.
He's a little off the mark.
Did you guys have...
If you guys become close friends, you can expect Fortnite bucks. I don't remember what they're called. V-Bucks?
V-Bucks.
You can expect V-Bucks on a regular basis for your holiday gift exchanges now.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Larry David would not let that shit slide. I think
No.
you need to knock on it, find out where he lives, and just tell him, like, please don't call me Fortnite guy. I don't play Fortnite, okay?
It does feel like a storyline that Larry David might deal with, but it was a very weird thing to have him do it again, and I just waved back, kind of smiled in a kind of a half grimace back at him because I didn't really know how to react to such a thing. I suspect I'll hear more about it in the future, but it got me to thinking about, nicknames. And I kind of miss, like in junior high and high school, me and my friends, everybody had a nickname. We had Big Gary,
Yeah.
Small Gary.
Well, naturally.
We had I can't remember everybody's name now all of a sudden. But
Regular Gary.
Regular Gary. They called me Small Gary. You didn't want to know because Small Gary's the one that put a whole. He worked at KFC and put raw chicken up his butt and then fried it and served it to customers. So you don't want to hang around Small Gary. Anyway, if he's listening, sorry Gary, I've outed you again. I've told this story a few times, but anyway, I liked it. It was a fun time. I think I was called Noodle for a long time, and I think it's because I was tall and skinny and gangly. And so I got the name Noodle. Bo, did you ever have anybody ever call you a thing? It's like, hey, old boner. Really?
Well, yeah, Bo.
That's an unfortunate.
I got tons of nicknames. That was just one, but yeah, boner. That one I didn't fight. I knew fighting that one would be terrible. But
yeah,
boner, boo, shorts.
Shorts.
Boo shorts.
Because you wore shorts.
Someone called me Beaujolais.
Really?
I had a manager call me Bocephus, I think, or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. My grandfather called me Bohunk. I think that's a old timey character of some kind. I don't.
Yeah. I didn't realize Bo's a great name to add stuff to, because you can go Bo Doom.
It's a very small syllables, so yeah, you can do all kinds of things. But the high school one was Boner.
Boner. I'm trying to think if I want that in high school or don't want that in high school.
No, you embrace that shit. You're like, I'm the
that's
guy known for having a dick.
Nickname.
It's great. It's cool.
All right, John. Any nicknames for John? That's a short name too.
No, people usually would just call me by my last name.
So just Jagger, come here, Jagger.
Yeah. So I would get called by my last name a lot.
Yeah.
There was a very brief window where I was driving in the car to go see Ben, and that song Barracuda came on. And I was like, man, can you imagine if your nickname was Barracuda and this song was about you? So I got to Ben's place. I was like, my new nickname is Barracuda. And he goes, fine, Barracuda. And I went, ugh, I hate it. Don't do it. And so for a while, he used to call me that just because he knew it bugged me. And I was like, I immediately regret this. But no, I never really had any nicknames. It's just either people called me John or they called me Jagger.
Yeah. Well, that's fine,
It's good if you don't get one of those names. Usually there's a story, right? Usually something weird. Like it's not in my friend group, but my friend Mike, his brother has the guy they know. They call him, I think it's Baja Steve. And I don't know why, but
does he ride Baja bikes or anything like that?
I don't know.
Baja Mexico connection or something?
No idea. No idea. But it's cool. It's just like, but like you worry about what the story is behind it, right?
Yeah.
So like Slimy John, it might mean there's a story there, like the chicken butt story. But
yeah.
Never. You
like
kind of don't want to earn
would
those
be
nicknames.
a good nickname.
Yeah,
right?
we should have called Little Gary Chicken Butt,
Butt.
But instead we called him Little Gary because we had already called him that. But felt like not quite a formal meeting, but there was kind of a moment after we learned about what he was doing at KFC and getting away with, by the way. That we thought maybe we shouldn't hang out with Little Gary anymore because
Little Gary's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, he's putting chicken, literally consumer grade chicken, in his butt, taking it out of there, putting it in the fryer, putting the kernels, whatever, on there, and then selling it to people, and they were eating it.
Is it weird that every time you tell this story, there's just like, I don't like it. I don't want to eat it no matter what, but there is a little part of me that goes, well, thank God he cooked it afterwards.
Yeah, right. Well, that is better than if you handed me a raw one and said, here, eat this. This has been on my butthole.
Yeah, but you still ate butthole chicken. Like,
yeah, I mean,
the
like,
odds
it's
are
not
everyone
good,
has,
but I'm just telling you, every time he says it, I feel a mild relief when he gets to the cook set.
Yeah.
This person was not busted, was he?
No,
right?
He never got in trouble for it. He quit before anyone ever found out.
This has like potential virality if it gets picked up. They'd be like, you never believe what this guy, had a career at KFC giving people butt chicken.
Yep.
And then, you think about it, that guy got away with it so long. Pretty much everyone listening has probably eaten butt chicken.
Probably. Yeah. I'm sure there's things that have happened at fast food restaurants of all ilks that nobody wants to know what we've eaten. We don't want to know.
Yeah. It's better to not know.
Jizz. You've eaten jizz. You've eaten poo. You've eaten
jazz.
Jazz.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was going to say cum or jizz.
That was great.
But yeah, you've had probably
a real
jizz chicken.
Very delivery to that word.
I'm just saying. Shout out.
We all sit high.
Shout out
It was kind of a Matt Berry version of how he might say it. Jazz.
You've eaten jizz. Yeah, that has probably happened. He probably had jizz chicken.
I don't want to
just
ever.
saying,
I
just
don't want to
saying.
think about it. I really don't. That's a horrible idea. Although this little Gary may have pulled that off too. I don't know.
Yeah, he probably only copped to like the most acceptable of his crimes.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to tell them about the time I threw a squirrel in there.
And Big Gary was never did anything bad like that. Big Gary was just a big, soft, happy guy. Nothing wrong with that guy. He would never
Just
put
called him
chicken
big
in his
because
mouth.
he was big.
Yeah, he was just a bigger version of it, and their both names were Gary.
This is bigger Gary.
Bigger, larger Gary. Yeah.
There's two Garys. There's one difference. One's small, one's big. It's simple.
Yep.
Well, here's what I think you do with Fortnite guy.
Okay.
Scott.
Okay.
I think you turn the tables on him.
Go.
You give him a nickname based on all the information you have about him.
Uh-oh.
And you just say back to him, "Hey, Walker, Texas Ranger."
Oh, hey, that's not bad.
And you just
that's not
give
bad.
him a nickname. Like all he is ever doing in your world is walking. Just call him Walker, Texas Ranger. Done.
You
They'll
know what?
just have
No, wait,
cute
wait,
little
whoa, whoa, whoa,
nicknames
whoa.
for each other, and it'll be great.
Okay. Bo,
Does that make sense?
Well-
Is he Walker? Because
He's
he's not in
walking.
Texas.
no,
I'm
definitely not in
Christopher
Texas. He's Christopher Walken. Some kind of walking reference is what we want.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I could see
I
that.
don't know.
So what would you do,
Maybe
Bo?
I'm trying to go meaner. Well, I'm like, can we? Because I take offense at the Fortnite guy thing, so I would want it to bite. This would be a bite back scenario, but maybe you're cool with
So
being called
Bo's like,
Fortnite
you
guy.
go with, "Oh, hey, bad nickname guy."
Yeah. Horrible nickname chooser guy. What are you up to?
Eh,
I don't know.
yeah,
What to
I
do. I
mean-
don't know what to do. I kind of like the Walker Utah Ranger. That's pretty good.
Does he have any physical features with which to attack?
Well, the first time I
Bo's like, "What do you think he's most self-conscious about?"
well
we're trying to destroy this guy.
yesterday he was
Hey,
wearing
it's socially awkward Samuel. What are you doing?
he was wearing cutoff jeans yesterday, not jorts, but like cutoffs. They're a little too high.
Cutoffs is a good nickname.
Hey, cutoffs, what's up? Like that?
Call him Hot Pants.
Yeah, call him I call him Daisy. Daisy Duke over there walking by. Hey, Daisy Duke,
Yeah.
what's up? All right, I'll think about this. I'll give it some additional thought as we move into the
What
next
about his
generation.
dog? Was he walking a dog?
No, it was the first time. This time was with his maybe a kid. I'm not sure. Short lady, little Gary. I don't know who it was.
Little Gary.
Little Gary was out there. Yeah, I don't know who it was that was with him, but he was real excited. And I mean, maybe he's just he's hungry for social interaction or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, this is up to you. If I was labeled Fortnite guy, I'd be all Larry David up in this business. I mean, it would bother me to no end, like to a shameful says bad things about your character degree.
Yeah.
Like I dislike this.
Maybe
You
I
may
call
not,
him.
so.
I call him like I don't know. I don't know what to call him. And for all I know, other people I know
You're
him.
literally the Warcraft guy. Like, I mean, it's like I
Yeah.
maybe just call him an idiot.
But he
Like,
wouldn't know that. He's
I
just,
know.
Maybe
He's
he
the
does.
He's a neighborhood
Maybe
guy.
he's a big gamer, and he's like, "Man, one of these days, Fortnite guy's gonna invite me to play with him."
oh yeah.
But the problem with his naming convention, where I take the issue, is that it's not like he saw you do something
Yeah.
and awarded you the name. If you were sitting there playing Fortnite and you're like Fortnite guy, like you deserve that shit, Scott.
Yeah.
But you're not playing Fortnite.
wasn't
This
playing
this is the most lazy, entitled nicknaming. He's just like, you have a console in your hand, that must mean Fortnite.
Yeah.
And
He
so, and to me, this is insulting.
He
This
should have
is-
yelled out, "Legally dubious copy of Hot Shots Golf Open T on the PlayStation Portable."
Oh, it's the MCA guy.
The DMCA guy. I
Yeah,
don't
these
know.
are 1,000 nicknames. DMCA Scott. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
No, but like, or Emulator Scott. That's a cool. Nickname.
emulator. Ooh, EMU. Hey, it's
Ooh,
EMU
Scott.
guy. What's up?
I don't know,
All right. Well,
but the problem is this guy did not include you in or any reality in the nicknaming process.
I was
so
not involved.
It makes me feel like he's a bully. It makes me feel like he just does that to other people, and maybe you're not getting the worst of it.
I'm not the first or the last, is what you're saying, and I think I agree with you. Well, I'm not the first or last to suggest that we talk about video games we played this week, so that's what we're going to do.
No,
If
definitely.
I lived in the neighborhood with you, I would probably go see him on your behalf.
Yeah, would you?
Not on your behalf. I would insert myself into the scenario.
You give him a
Be
spite
like, oh, please
nickname.
don't talk to him. Like, I'm going to talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm into it. All right, let's
sir,
do.
Sir, it's not Fortnite, sir.
Yeah,
He's playing a golf game emulated on his Steam Deck, and if you don't know what that means, then you have no business putting yourself in this conversation, sir.
that's right. You could call him Open T Terry or something dumb like that, but you can't call him Fortnite guy.
And then I'd earned myself a nickname like video game lawyer guy or something like that. Yeah.
Video game lawyer guy down from Canada with flowing, beautiful hair, fighting for Scott on his behalf. I love it.
Yeah, something like that.
Let's do this.
Anyways.
Hey, y'all, check this out. Baldur's Gate 3 is almost here. We're like, what? Well, I mean, it's here in early access form, but the game, finished game out of the gate on Steam, PlayStation 5. Well, that comes later, but Steam for sure is like the third, right? So it's like, what, a week and a half? Not even that? Something like that.
It's 2 weeks.
2 weeks? A little more than.
For Baldur's Gate 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, August 3rd. So literally 14 days. Exactly 14 days, I meant.
Now, there's a game dev on Twitter named Rit Nelson, W-R-I-T Nelson, and he is a game developer. And he said this. I'm going to read part of this, if it'll come up. There we go. He says, like a lot of people, I'm deeply excited about what the lovely folks at Larian accomplished with Baldur's Gate 3, but I want to gently, preemptively push back against players taking that excitement and using it to apply criticism or a quote-unquote raised standard to RPGs going forward. Then he goes on to say a lot of other stuff, which basically boiled down to his own TLDR, which is this. In an era of mega games, Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the largest attempted, built by a specialized group of people using mature tech, specifically built to make this specific kind of game, reinforced by invaluable mass player feedback and market validation ahead of its launch. Essentially saying, do not look at this as a new standard because you'll be disappointed that everything after this may not be as cool. The computer RPGs, Baldur's Gate style games aren't necessarily all going to reach the heights that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to reach, given all the advantages that Larian had with this title, which I think is a weird way of saying no one will ever innovate past this. Kind of. And so
or up to that level.
I think it's more of a, I don't think he's saying no one will innovate past this. I think what he's saying is that in a year, when somebody else makes a role-playing game and all of us do the shorthand thing we tend to do, which is if Baldur's Gate 3, which came out last year, can do blank, why can't this do blank? And I think what he's trying to say is that, like, hey, this is a very specific set of circumstances that is not going to apply to every game.
Right.
Like, don't look at a new franchise launching its first video game and go, well, why is it so short when Baldur's Gate 3 is so long and deep?
Yeah.
Like, there's just it's a different scenario.
But isn't that something we do?
Is how I took it.
But don't we do that with everything? Like every game that comes out that blows everybody's mind and sets a new bar, whatever that may be. I don't know. Let's say Ocarina of Time was a huge deal on the N64, but as far as action-based sort of adventure games go, it redefined what Zelda is. It pushed everything in a new way. Mario 64, very similar example for platformers, took it into the 3D realm and all of this. And I'm sure there were people at the time that went, well, this is never going to get any better than this. This is like, this is new high watermark that no one will ever get here. I don't know why that's any different now. Like this will be mind blowing and wonderful, and we're all going to love it. I mean, we're all as stoked as we can be about the release of this game, but if it sets new standards, then that just means there's new standards to reach for. And sure, there'll be some awkward attempts that aren't as good or that are already in development that don't quite reach these standards. But we always get there eventually. That's what's great about a new standard or a new high watermark is that everybody now reaches further for the next release and tries to outdo each other. And it happens all the time, all kinds of genres and all kinds of reasons why that happens. So I don't exactly get why that's a problem for it to be, that big of a deal so that others don't look as good right away. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to me to say that because you can say it about almost any video game, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice sentiment, but like at the same time, like everybody's gonna do it anyway. Like Everybody is still going to, as soon as you can draw a parallel, like that's what human beings do. We draw connections. And as soon as you do a party-based role-playing game, there are going to be people, whether you wrote a tweet about it or not, that go, well, how does this compare to Baldur's Gate 3?
Mhm.
And it's kind of an inevitability.
Right.
I mean, they still do it with Diablo too.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
They're still
Yeah.
It'll be hundreds of years before. I think even 1,000 years from now, we'll be dead and gone for 1,000 years, and there'll be people like, "Not as good as Diablo 2."
I mean,
Yeah, it's a great RPG, but we'll be on Mars, and they'll be like, "Man, back on Earth, Diablo 2 ruled. This Martian RPG that we got to play now sucks."
Yeah.
They're gonna be, like you get these special games like that. You're gonna get one of. Like I think we're sort of used to looking at the games industry like, okay, I had that product, now give me more of that product we like. And sometimes in the space, you just get that one creation, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's and I think it's possible. We haven't played it yet. This is also sight unseen that this guy's provoking an argument about.
Right.
That it's possible that the resources and the talent all coalesce to make something really special here, and it'll never happen again. That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Look at Disco Elysium that we're getting. That game will stand on its own. There's gonna be two or a series of them, or even a genre of games written like that. It's like that talent got together for that period of time and made that thing, and then you can enjoy it and it's special, and that's it.
Yeah. Well,
same with Dwarf Fortress is another good example.
There may
Like,
be
hasn't worked
another
on it 40 years.
That's true, but there may also be somebody, I don't know, 5-6 years down the road, who learned whatever lessons were taught by Disco Elysium's narrative skills, and then outdo it. We'll still think fondly, and we'll still look at Disco Elysium and go, that was an important pinpoint in time.
I just think like you can't put that on a factory line. Right, like if Hollywood could do that, they'd have done it by now, and every movie would be an Oscar winner.
That's a good point. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I think the whole like art appreciator versus we are a consumer and have demands like really is you wear both hats as someone who's a participator.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, company, I enjoyed this dish. Please continue to deliver dishes like this. But the dish like has requirements that they try and then they fail, and they'll promise but won't deliver because part of creating art is it's a little bit alchemy. You can do all the things right and fail, and then you can write a great song in an afternoon. Right? You can spend 8 months writing the world's best song and everyone hates it, or you hate it even, whatever. And you jam out on a weekend and come up with a song that captures the world's hearts.
Yeah,
like video games are kind of like that too, and like that's why the discourse on this always gets a little bit annoying because like you're gonna, I just had a laugh when this guy posted like, "Can I gently tell people this thing that's pretty true?" into the irrational sphere of human emotion and disappointment and sadness, and expect I think it was done intentionally to poke a bear and to have some fun with it.
Yeah.
But because like obviously.
Well, the harder thing is actually Larian topping themselves. See, I think somebody else with a fresh perspective can always come in and do something cool with all kinds of genres. But then if this gets received the way a lot of the early buzz is saying, and it's just considered one of the greatest games ever, well, now the pressure's on Larian to ever top that. To me, this is like, we were talking about Revenant earlier, John, or not Revenant, Remnant 2. Revenant. That's the one where the bear tries to eat.
I made the same mistake when I was looking it up on Steam. I was like, "Where's this Revenant 2?" And I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I did. I just think of that movie with DiCaprio in it and the bear. But anyway, John mentioned it, and we looked at a couple of reviews, and it looks like it's pretty killer. And most of what I'm reading is saying this is what you want out of a sequel. They have their early game, and it's awesome, but then they make everything better somehow, like exponentially better than the first game. I think it's really hard to do. So, for example, Remnant 3 will now have a lot more to live up to, and they may not be able to hit that mark. They probably will make something as good as it if they do. This game could be so good that Larian will have a hard time in the future ever making a game as good. That to me makes a lot of sense to talk about how that raises the bar for the people who made it. But I think they're, whenever you put a fresh perspective and new money and anything on any project, you can always come up with something.
I think where this comes really into play, it's not like graphically the game looks nice, but we're not talking about graphics, and it's the D&D 5e system. It's not like they invented the system, and although I don't think even Solasta implemented Faithful. We have example of a company faithfully, very small indie company, faithfully adapting 5e rules to a game.
Right.
I think the big thing that they've done here is they've got a high amount of choice, like a disgusting trove of choice that you're not going to see in many. In fact, I don't even know if you'll see that much choice. Well executed, and then story variability. So the big thing that jumped out was they were saying the ending has 17 different, up to 17,000 different variations.
17,000 variations.
Yeah, not 17,000 endings, but as the story concludes, different vectors of choice can result in your experience having a variety, like there being 17,000 different ending experiences in the story.
And they don't mean things like, oh, your cleric has a mustache in the end. It's not like that. It'd be like,
no, but I mean, again,
it could. I mean, like
it could be.
That could be. When you hit 17,000, there's a lot of room for variance.
I think. Well, it makes me think of Disco Elysium. So I know you guys haven't played that to the end, and I don't know if you want spoilers or not, because I don't know if you'll ever play
I
it.
don't, because
I
I want to
either.
play
I am definitely
it, and
gonna
I
play it. Yeah.
occasionally find out things, and
I'm trying
every
to
time
find
I
it.
find something out, I'm like, well, I got to delay longer so I can forget what
So
I
you
know.
forget about it. Yeah.
Well, we've played all played Mass Effect through the end,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Right.
So
2 and 3.
there are some like cutscenes depending on who's alive and who isn't, right?
Sure.
Right.
Like some, like the major choices involve some variability, not in the ultimate like resolution of the antagonist versus the protagonist, but just who you're getting to chill with in the after party, what sort of like epilogue activities you get up to, like a role-playing game with a large, Lord of the Rings style denouement, if you will. Like it's I think BG's going for that, and it's like he's kind of saying what we already know. We know most this isn't going to raise the bar because we have games that have already had like high tier denouements, and we still don't get them very often. So but I think that's what he's talking about, is just like there's probably an abundance of choice, an abundance of reactivity. They call it, like, even in their last panel from hell, they talked about the game being very reactive. The Baldur's Gate has a newspaper and it writes articles about you, and you can even go in and influence what's written in the newspaper. And they talk about reactivity. When you play Dragonborn, there are lines dedicated just to react to you as a Dragonborn, because even though Forgotten Realms has a lot of races in it, Dragonborn are still very rare to see. So people are like, oh shit, a dragon man, holy crap. Like, so there's probably an embarrassment of riches in terms of what has gone into this game. But I think you're right. I don't think it'll be the last time somebody makes a Herculean effort in a video game either. But yeah, we don't expect much from EA. We knew that already.
Right.
We knew that already. We don't expect an RPG from Activision. We do from Blizzard, but not from Activision. So, just another big company. I don't think it's going to change your expectations about what those companies are trying to do, which is a lot of trend chasing for the most part. And doing what works.
But that's one hallmark of this industry that I love. It's these points of light of major change or major shifts or brand new ways of thinking or playing. And as much as I don't like Vampire Survivors as the OG, I like the spinoffs. I like Halls of Torment and some others better. But there's no denying that that's one of those points of light. There's this like new thing that nobody had done before, at least not in that exact way, or that combination of ingredients. And that new gaming burrito came out of nowhere and took everything by storm and won awards, and it has documentaries about it. And that one John sent me is weird as hell because they do it with a puppet. But anyway, that was really distracting, by the way. It's hard for me to pay attention to that thing.
They don't do it for too long. I thought it was really good. I thought it was better than like, hey, here's a screen, a zoom screen with a name, you
Yeah.
know, or just archive footage in the background.
It's much
I
better
thought it
than
was
the guy,
nice.
because the guy didn't want to be on camera, and what they did was better than trying to just work around him. You know, like he must have been okay with them using the puppet. I don't know if you have to get permission for that. Like,
I'm sure they told him, "Hey, man, we're gonna make you a puppet."
I mean, I hope so. I don't know. I don't know. Like
Like,
if you're gonna like not if you don't want to be shown in this thing, and that's part of the deal, and you're using your voice, you've already committed to that. Do you have to approve the puppet use? You know,
I don't know if you have to, but I think anybody doing it would be crazy not to look for it, and I'm sure they did.
yeah, I think you're probably right.
Like, he doesn't seem like he's so uptight that he's like, absolutely not. There's no way you will represent me as a vampire puppet.
No, he just seemed to be like, I value my privacy and don't want to be on
For
camera.
those who don't know what we're talking about, Vampire Survivors documentary on No Clip
Yeah, it's very good.
just came out and is very good.
It's very
Vampire
good.
Survivors or V Rising?
Survivors.
Vampire Survivors.
Oh, I thought it was V Rising, and I was not as interested. No, okay.
Yeah.
I mixed up the two games. My bad.
Yeah.
It turns out it did not take a week.
No. No.
I'm sure it didn't. I just remember the comment was it looks like it took a weekend to make.
Although, actually, it's funny you say that because that is discussed in the documentary. They do talk about a very specific, like, hey, this looks too good. You need to make it look crappier as a thing that they actually do for the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they talk about that.
That is a frequent comment and activity.
like as a. Sorry, they need the comment from players. Is that it?
No, the comment internally when they're putting stuff together is make it look a little worse.
Is it because of just so that it performs better when the screen's full of like objects? Is it like Is it like performance gains for low end machines?
They
kind of thing?
think that part of the game's charm is that it looks bad.
Yeah.
Oh, so they did it intentionally.
Yeah, or didn't work too hard to.
I'm not sure which is worse.
Because once you
honestly.
start selling them, 500,000 of these things, even at a small price of $3 or whatever it was, you suddenly have money for a team and for polish and for all that other stuff. And it seemed like there was a point where they had to make that decision where it's like, we don't want to polish this. What is it? I don't want to make a pig look clean, or what's the old phrase? You can't put lipstick on a pig. Like, leave the pig, no lipstick. Make this a pig, basically.
Yeah, let it be a pig.
Yeah.
Because it started as just he was a very basic programmer and he got an asset pack. Like, that's why it started. That's why it was Castlevania, is he bought a Castlevania inspired asset pack that he used in the creation of his game. And so then when it came time to put their own flair and their own touches on what he was already using, it was, well, the game is popular based on this really crappy looking thing. Keep it the crappy looking thing.
Right. That makes sense. It does make sense.
Yeah.
And like, it also makes sense that would be that, because like I said, in the Godot, like first example, it's literally make a guy spawn random dudes that path towards you. Like, it's literally Vampire Survivors.
Oh, really?
It's just yeah. Like, I mean, and this example predates Vampire Survivors. Like, when you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, that's like one of the first things they're teaching me in Godot is to like spawn my guy, move him around, have him shoot a little projectile, have enemies appear on the screen, walk towards you, despawn when they get hit with a projectile, do damage when they hit the thing, and that's the game. And that's pretty much the Vampire Survivors loop, except on crack, when you're just like, how about I make 600 projectiles, and how about, and like, I think they've like perfected the 30-minute loop. Like, it does feel like good progression. Like, it's a good game.
Yeah.
But and it's a good genre, but it's interesting how it looks so crappy.
Yeah. But
and
to my
like that's
to
there's
the
a
original
hipster angle to it, where it's like, no,
Sure.
we like it like this.
But to the original point, it's an example of those flash moments of whoa, new thing, which sometimes feels like we wait around forever for that, but they do happen in gaming all the time. Disco Elysium's a good example. BG3 may be that. I hope so. All this talk makes me want it to be.
Dread is a good, even though it's like, shouldn't you be able to make 1,000 Metroids? Why is it 50 million years?
Yeah,
and it was really good when they released Dread. Dread was amazing, but it's like, where's my expansion pack? Like,
Well, and Dread's still derivative of a thing that's when it was a flash of lightning was, an old console game way back in the day. And so you could say, yes, they've iterated on Metroid and made it better, but that moment of like eureka, those are rare. And when they happen, it's awesome. I hope that's what this is, because then there's a new standard to aim for, and games will try to do better, be better, exceed it. So as much as this may just be a dude on Twitter with a lark, it's a very interesting, I think it's an interesting conversation. Yeah. I like it a lot.
I don't think we'll see, like, I think one of the things that is missed with comments like this, though, is like Larian like has kind of a Blizzard style story a little bit. Like they were going to go out of business before Divinity Original Sin came out and saw some success. And they hit their stride. And they've been working at this for a long time, so it's not like they just came in the spot and blew it up and got lucky. Like that company's been around for a long time, and it's like it's not just the development time of Baldur's Gate 3, but of the people involved at that company have been there a long time, working to. I think they're just living their dream now of having like just this crazy. They're good at the crazy phenomenal success and become a pinnacle in the CRPG.
It's funny though, because Original Sin 2, you could argue Original Sin 2 is another eureka moment for computer RPGs, for lack of a better term. I don't even like that genre.
That game came out of nowhere the year it came out too. Everyone was just raving about it.
Yeah, it was amazing. And that's already this high watermark. So it's not like we're in a vacuum where this is being made by a company who's never made one of these. They made the best one that is already out there. There is no better one of these right now until this hits. Hopefully this is better. But up till now, name a CRPG that is as good as Original Sin 2. I can't do it. There isn't one. Is there one?
I mean, I put Disco Elysium in there.
But it's not the same though, right? Is it the same or is it different?
No. It's I mean, it depends how you classify these things. They're very different. Like you're getting very different cereals. One's Count Chocula, the other one's Fruit Loops. Like, you might like one more than the other, and they're very different tasting cereals, but they're both really sugary cereals.
Oh wait, you know what we can do real quick? Everyone's favorite sugar cereal. Go, John. Go. What is it? Your favorite?
I'm not a big cereal guy, but I did literally just before this show have it's called Lucky Charms S'mores.
What?
It is okay, here's what it is. Imagine Lucky Charms, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine that instead of the the non-marshmallow pieces, pretend those are chocolate flavored. Okay, now pretend somebody poured a bunch of Golden Grams in there. Oh my
gosh, this is so bad.
And now pretend there's also additional extra weird, just circular marshmallows.
Okay.
And it's good.
I'll bet it's good, but it's also...
I really like it. It's incredibly sugary.
It's a big box of coma-inducing sugar, though. Holy crap. All right, well, I don't need sugar anymore, but if I did, I'm like just a straight-up Fruit Loops guy. I'll do Fruit Loops any day.
I'll eat almost any cereal. That's fine.
I like them.
Yeah, it's hard to dislike a cereal. Even Shreddies are okay on the right occasion.
Now, hold on. Have we heard of those Shreddies? What is that? Is that a Canadian thing?
Oh, shit. It's a Canadian thing.
This is what I was hoping this was going to turn into.
I was like, oh, man, I walked into a Canadian thing again.
This was my goal. Okay, hold on. Let's look it up. Shreddies, breakfast cereal, first produced in Canada in 1939.
Do you guys have Special K?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have... Yeah, Shreddies are a thing, or is it like Wheaties for you guys?
We have Wheaties. We don't have Shreddies.
What about Mueslix?
Yeah, we have Mueslix, but no one eats that because it's gross.
Yeah, but like all cereal, even if it's gross, all cereal has its time where you could eat it and it's like it's all right.
Do you guys have grape nuts up north?
Grape nuts?
Yeah, grape nuts.
Fruit?
They don't have it. They don't have grape nuts.
I don't know.
So grape nuts is like a brand cereal, but it's basically gravel, so it's not good. You don't want it. It's bad.
Okay. Well, what I do enjoy most of the time is oatmeal crunch.
Oh, that sounds all right.
Cereals, because you can put fruit in it and you can do it with yogurt. You don't need to cereal it. But if it's sugary cereal, I'm partial to Captain Crunch.
Okay. How about you like it with the big crunch berries or just the plain old?
Just the plain old. I mean, I've kind of had cereals banned in the house for a long time. Cereals are just like pretty much. If you could put unhealthy into a box, it's pretty much a cereal. So I think like 10 years ago or so, I just don't buy them.
It's a good move.
Keep a little bit for the yogurt, fruit, dessert sort of deal. But,
Sure. They should have called that bleeding mouth cereal, because every time I ate Captain Crunch, my mouth would bleed. That stuff was terrible.
Oh,
it's just so sharp. The little cubes or whatever, and just
maybe they don't make it
apart.
as good in the States as they do in
I
Canada.
guess
We have better. I don't.
Yeah, great nuts though.
I guess it is kind of sharp. Like, but I never hurt myself on it.
That's probably US.
But yeah, this game's gonna be awesome, and I don't know. The comical thing about this tweet is like, you knew what you were doing, right? Like, you're gonna tell the entitled gamer toddlers not to cry or whatever. Like, guys, be reasonable. Like, it's just kind of it's kind of funny, like, because he is wrong a little bit, where it's like, well, they raised the bar. Like, you can't, if someone does something. You know what this reminds me of actually a little bit? You ever worked anywhere and you worked really hard because you just started there, and then someone comes up to you and is like, "Oh, we don't work that hard around here."
I have had that happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, "Oh,
I was making them look
I'm making
bad.
people look bad, and they don't feel nothing about it."
Yeah.
Well, F these guys, because I'm not here for them. You know, like, that's always been my take on it. Like, I don't give a shit. Probably why I get promoted to management a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
But like, sorry, I said that very arrogantly.
Yeah, probably why I'm always
probably why I get promoted.
Probably
to
why I'm always
management,
made a
like,
manager.
everywhere I work.
Yeah.
Not here to make friends. I'm here to make money.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm such a dick. Oh my god.
Corpo returns.
No, it's probably true though. Like, the quiet one who just gets shit done and doesn't brag all the time. I mean, if I was a manager, I would look for those people and hire and promote them.
Yeah. You hire reliable people that have that exercise discretion and good judgment.
Yeah,
and it's definitely bad judgment to walk up to someone and be like, "Stop working so hard, dude."
That's terrible judgment
for a lot of reasons.
Yep.
But that's what this smacks of. This smacks of, like, in the defense of the, because I call them whiny gamers, but I think they have a point in that. If someone sets the bar high, then that's just what happens.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
go post your complaints somewhere where people give a shit, because no one really does.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, people were very busy complaining about Diablo this week, which we'll get to in a minute here. All right. Well, speaking of which, let's talk about what we played this week. I don't remember where I got that. We're gonna talk about the games we played. Nobody played anything shared this week, but I dabbled weirdly into a thing that I didn't expect this to happen. So, Bo, this is Bo's fault. Last week we were talking about Black Desert again, and you were like, "I may install that again and check out that new area and all that."
Oh yeah, I got away from it. I'm out.
You're out. Okay. Well, Bo got me thinking about it, so I went and installed it. And then I got in it.
I was like, we should all get matching tattoos. And then Scott shows up with the tattoo, and Bo's like, oh no, I decided against it.
Yeah, that is kind of what it's like.
I was just having fun in the moment.
I think it's not a bad comparison. But I did this because I mean, it wasn't like, oh, I'll do this with Bo. It was more like, yeah, I'm kind of in the mood for a grindy, crappy MMO. I don't know, just kind of.
I played a bit. I did play a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I may have even dropped $10 in the game, shamefully.
10? Oh, you spent money already? I don't feel so bad then.
Yeah. I bought a scan, and then I played for a bit, and then I remembered, I'm like, this is not gonna end well. This is better things to do, and I uninstalled.
Yeah, I did the same. So that's about as far as I got. But
then
my
losses at $10.
But then I got in a mood, and I was like, well, what else have I not tried? Like, let's just look at everything Steam or PC game stores or whatever have as like popular MMOs that aren't the ones I've played. Let's just see what's up. And then I bumped into Star Trek Online and went, oh yeah, right. Never played it. John has a lifetime subscription.
Lifetime sub, still subbed.
Yep. He'll never get rid of it. He paid all at once back then, famously. And a bunch of other people did that too that I know. So you're not the only one. But I thought I'll just see what's up in there. I hear it's good. Like, it's reviewed well, like right now the community's happy with this game. It seems like it's being played and lots of people like it just fine. So I fired it up on PC. And it's an interesting thing because, boy, and when you're not in space, it's very ugly. Okay. Like all the on the ground stuff, all the characters, the the people's faces, the kind of interiors of things. It's pretty crusty. It's not great. It's showing its age. They have not, as far as I know, done much to like beef up that engine for all the ground combat and the missions on the ground and that sort of stuff. The women are also shaped weird where the men are not, and I don't understand that. The women have crazy legs and the men have stubby legs. It's just weird. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is, I went in there and I started a character and I started doing its thing. And before I know it, I was like 6 hours into this game and really enjoying myself. And I think it's mostly the tactical space combat is actually legit fun. And
yeah, that's the part I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it's
back
cool.
when I played as well. Yeah,
it's really cool, and that stuff also looks good. Like that's the thing. The ground stuff just looks a little hanky and old, but the stuff in space actually looks good. The ships look good. There's this moment where Janeway shows up in Voyager to like save my ass in the middle of a Borg cube fight, and it was like legit exhilarating. I was like, whoa. Admiral Janeway just showed up. Who's with her? Some other guy I know? Oh, we just got communications from Captain Reforged, because Geordi's all doing stuff on his own ship now in this world. Anyway, that stuff was really fun and kind of impressive. And then when I'd get to the ground, it's not bad. It's just that in comparison, it's just not as fleshed out or something. It's hard for me to even explain why it feels so weird. I think it's actually kind of a valiant effort to try to tie the two aspects of Star Trek together, ground combat and missions away and away teams and all of that, and then mixing that with the space stuff is a very cool thing to do. The game's not new by any stretch, so if somebody said, "Oh, we're going to do a whole graphical overhaul," I would like legitimately be excited about that, because I think the underpinnings are strong and they've supported their community. It's not egregious pay to win stuff in this game. Like I said, I played like 6-7 hours or something. That's all I've had time for, but it's cool. Star Trek Online's pretty cool as an MMO to play. That's among the list of the older aging ones. There are a number of those out there now that were all made in like 2011, 2012.
Did you interact with the community very much?
A little bit. You know what happened a lot is, how in WoW sometimes you'll start a new character and as soon as you get in, you get like 500 guild invites because people are just waiting around to like pull you into a guild. That happens here a lot.
There's another one. Get him.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. It's like the Federation monkeys would like to add you to their whatever consortium. Do you want to join?
This game has like zero like press. It does zero press, right? Like even as we scroll through the news articles in a given week, I don't really see, I even see EVE online come up more than this game, right?
Oh yeah, for
so
sure.
I'm guessing like the people that are playing this are, passionate or like Star Trek, right? Like there's a lot of choices out there. I got to imagine, they're big into the Trek, right?
Yeah, my feeling was while I was in there and when I was reading Reddit and some other things, what people love about it is it's the most expansive Trek experience available in video games. Like there just isn't anything else, and it's not to say that people are settling for some crappy thing. I think I got the feeling the whole time I was in it that this game has always been really ambitious, but doesn't quite have the polish you need to fully realize that ambition, if that makes any sense. Like it's just a little on the cornball side. They have all the actors come and do stuff. Like that was actually Janeway talking. That was what's her name? Can't think of her name all of a sudden. Geordi is Geordi. It's LeVar Burton. Spock is a big part of the intro for the Federation side if you're not doing Klingon or something. It has that cachet to it, and even recent missions. Like I just played a thing with that had Wesley Crusher and what's her name, Crusher, Mom Crusher, Beverly. Thank you.
Mom Crusher.
And they were voiced by the actors. Like they're not. She's got that cool shock of gray hair like she does in Picard and all that.
Did you finish that season of Picard?
Did I? Oh no, I haven't finished that yet, have I?
What? How could you not finish it?
Oh, I'll go finish it. You know what? I don't know, something happened and I didn't
pause
mean to
the
do
show.
that.
We'll
Pause
wait.
the show and go watch it now. Okay. No, I got like 5 in and then got just busy, or I don't know what happened, but I didn't finish. I will though. Anyway, it's just a surprise.
Incredible.
How fun this is or how much fun I was having. Now, if this is a game where you said, "Hey, I need your $49 plus expansion cost plus a monthly fee," I would have said probably not. It's a little old for that, you know. But like I said, I wouldn't turn these guys down if they said, "Hey, we're overhauling the engine. We're going to come out. We're going to cataclysm this, or we're
So
going to."
it's just free to play at this point.
Correct. Yeah, and I just played the Steam version. It's on consoles as well.
So it's just free, and there's like a battle. Like, is there an optional battle pass? Like, what's the?
No battle passes, but there's events. There's well, I guess some of it's kind of battle passes.
There is an in-game currency. I know because this is what my lifetime sub perk has turned into.
Right.
There's an in-game currency that I get a quantity every month. I'm sure it's capped, which is unfortunate because I'm apparently collecting it.
Yeah.
Forever.
There's probably some cap. There'd have to be, right?
Oh, that bums me out though, because I want to just log in and be a millionaire. Just like find out like Fry style. I had a really like low balance in a bank account, but then got teleported into the future, and I've just collected a ton of interest.
Right.
And like now I'm the richest person in Star Trek Online.
Yeah, you put like $25 in Apple in 1972, and now you're worth billions.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
Oh, people are saying no cap. Anyway, I think it would be cool, but there is a currency that's used. I believe it's for, mostly cosmetic.
Oh,
type
yeah,
stuff.
there's definitely a store, and there is a currency. I just don't think there's a battle pass, like strictly battle pass style thing. But there are like event things that seem to be tied to the store a little bit. I didn't really explore that though. I was mostly doing story missions. And this is the other thing I liked about it. And this is what I think maybe my big takeaway about what they do that's special. They capture the feeling of an actual TNG season, weirdly, or whatever Star Trek you're into. But let's say TNG, because this is all set like 20 years after TNG. They feel like separate episodes. So it's like, there's an anomaly. We're going to go explore. There's a captain's log at the beginning of it, and you hear the narration. We found a... And then you go do the thing, and you explore, and you find out, oh, no, there's some real dark shit going on. And then you have to fight, and then you have to fight in space, and then you got to go find a thing. And there's a lot of, MMO tropes happening, but they treat it like an episode of Star Trek. And when you're done with that one, you can go do another one, and there's no single path to take. You can go to whatever episode you want in any order you want. And that felt great. I really liked it. There was a real start and finish to everything. And that was fun. Now I can't speak to like they have a version of dungeon content. They have all those other end game things. I didn't do any of that. I can't speak to end game in this at all. But I just have to say it left a pretty good, albeit kind of janky first impression, because I know what I'm playing looks like shit. Chat room says this is the upgraded engine, so that's disappointing.
Yeah, but I mean, Star Trek not known for looking incredible either.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Once you accept that, and also accept that the space stuff does look really cool, like the ships are really cool and rendered nice, and they're big, and the way some of the inertia mechanics and stuff work, it's really cool in space. It's a neat game. I don't know how much more I'm going to play it, but I gotta say it really scratched that itch I was feeling after Bo and I were talking about MMOs. And I wasn't.
Yeah, glad you landed there and not in BDO.
Yeah, I was in BDO long enough to go, oh yeah, right, and then I got out.
Yeah, same.
And
this is too much.
I'm so glad you said that, because when you got into our Discord channel and you're like, I'm gonna play it, Bo, I just was like, why?
Why?
What are you doing?
Well, let me make it worse for you, John, because that night I thought, well, that was bad, but I wonder how that mobile version of BDO is now. I just was curious. I'll just sit in bed and try a little mobile BDO. Fired it up, installed it. I forgot how that game plays. So that game's crazy on mobile. It's like gorgeous. Like BDO in general is a very pretty game, right? It's always been graphically kind of amazing. The mobile game is even more so that way. Maybe it's because it's on a smaller screen. And it's bombastic as hell and all of that. But it plays itself, like 100% plays itself. I don't have to do shit in that game. It just attacks mobs and does all the special abilities. I can turn that off and try to do it manually, but it's there, so I leave it on by default. And my guy just runs, kills a bunch of stuff, does a bunch of things, runs back to the quest giver. Like, the game plays itself. So then I uninstalled that because that was dumb. And then I gave up, and then I played this. So there you go.
Good call. I felt similarly. I just know what happens at endgame. It gets really dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've been in places in that game we'll never go, and I trust your
the
opinion.
desert, like it's just graphically
Spending
it's
money on
cool.
panties.
Yeah, graphically it's cool. Graphically it's cool, and like character creation's cool, and the battle's cool, but the actual what you do sucks.
Yeah, it's not that great.
There's just too much bullshit. I
Mhm.
mean, I if I should be playing Lost Ark, if I can play BDO, so
Yeah. Well, it was cool.
forget
I had a
that
really
shit.
good time in there. So if anyone out there's thinking, hey, I should
I
dabble.
found a softer place to land that I'm very happy about, but we'll save that for when it's my turn.
Oh, very nice. I also this one's to blow John's mind. Oh, I should mention
I'm excited about this. This is a game that has been on my like add to cart, but then ends up getting deleted before I pulled the trigger for a long time. Like
really?
I have wanted to play this game for a while, and I'm really excited you're playing it.
Well, Squaresoft, also known nowadays as Square Enix, made a game years ago they made the Mana series. The Mana series is very popular. People love the 16-bit era Mana games. Legend of Mana. What was the other one that came to America?
Secret of Mana, Legend of Mana.
And then this one, Trials of Mana, which did not come to the US initially on the Super Nintendo, but did in Japan, was very, very huge over there. I don't know why it didn't come here. Maybe they were just like, those other two didn't perform well.
I mean, you want to talk about a reason why I feel a bit like shocked that I've never played this game is as a kid, Secret of Mana was one of my favorite video games of all time. I literally had a diary that I bought and filled in with pages about how badly I wanted Secret of Mana just so I could leave it places around the house in the hopes that my parents would read this diary and learn how badly I needed Secret of Mana in my life so that I might have this game.
Scammer John, that's what we should call you.
I used to
Long Con John.
go to my local video store and rent the only copy of Secret of Mana that they had. And whenever we went back to the video store, I would try and get it again. But at a certain point, they got a second copy of Secret of Mana. So I wrote with permanent ink on the cartridge of the one that was mine in quotes.
Yeah.
And I would ask to see the cartridge before I would rent it to see if it had my mark on it, because I knew that's the one that had my save. And I was devastated because one day someone deleted my save for no good reason, because I just constantly rent it and play my save. And this was what I would do. So I had a lot of really stupid things around Secret of Mana because that game meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And I would always read the video game magazines, and they would always show previews of like, hey, here's this sequel to Secret of Mana. Here's the sequel. And it never came out. And so I spent a lot of time longing for this game that never came out, and I still have never played it.
Yeah.
You should play it together.
Well, I don't think you can. Well, you could watch, I suppose, or
So Secret of Mana also notable in my life because we had the 4-player adapter for the SNES for Bomberman. You could also play 3 players in Secret of Mana, and I played with it was one of the only games that I played with like my brother and sister, all of us playing.
Oh, you know what? I take it back. You can play in this, but the problem is it's couch, like you were doing with your sister and your brother, right?
Oh, okay.
No
so
online. Yeah, which is kind of a bummer.
But,
you're right.
Secret of Mana is at the time it was like the only adventure game you could play 3 players, full campaign, like very. They set the bar so high it's never been met again. Just kidding.
And I mean, to their credit, this was the only real challenger in the 16-bit era that Zelda had. It felt like it was a huge, hugely influential for a lot of gamers who were thinking that Zelda was the only adventure game to play, and this just. This series snuck in there. But the Japanese version of Trials never came here, like we talked about. So this is that version remastered and in English. It's also in Japanese. You want to hear it that way?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they have multiple languages. I was gonna say I have seen. There's a YouTube video of somebody playing Trials in English, but I think that's like a ROM somebody localized. So I don't think it's actually like you can't buy the cartridge and have it be that way. I don't think. But anyway, Trials of Mana is on PlayStation 5 as a PlayStation Plus game. It's just there. So that's why I decided to just try it. I was like in the mood, and I'm like, hey, let's check this out. I like Secret of Mana a lot. I probably would like this. And turns out I really do. Structurally, it is very much set in the 16-bit era. Like what you do, where you do it, and how you do it is not simple, but it's 16-bit simple. And they built a 3D engine around it. But you're still sort of, in fact, it's very true to the original game, apparently, which also means it's true to the trappings of that era. But I like that stuff. And it's so in some of that simplicity is actually working for me in terms of like, it's not crazy exploration. It's not get lost Final Fantasy type stuff. It's just like, hey, I got to do a thing and I know where the indicator is to go and I'll go do that stuff. And now I got a companion and the AI is going to fight unless I want to switch to that companion. I'll play as that companion when I feel like it. And I can level them up separately and buy them all gear when I need to buy them gear upgrades and all this sort of stuff. And it's got this very like, it's a Square game, but it's real-time action, but it's still a Square game and you're still leveling up and you still have magic points and you still have life points and you still have gear that's going to be better than what you had before and all kinds of drop down or dropped items that you're going to use. So it's very just true to all that stuff, right? Here's my only complaint about the game, and it's not really much of one because I actually kind of find it so ridiculous it's working for me, and that's the horrible dialogue and acting. It's really, really, really bad.
I saw your clip at the end of Core Daily, and at first, Scott, I thought you were doing an obnoxious voice over the end of the game.
Yeah. I mean, you would wonder, right? Like, it's that bad. I'll give, here's an audio example of some of this.
He took a blow meant for me, causing both him and the Dragon Lord to fall into the depths of an abyss.
I mean, that's not that bad, but...
that wasn't that bad. What you had at the end of Core Daily was pretty
bad. How about this one?
Welcome, young man. This shop is for reading fortunes. Your pinched face tells me you have a lot on your mind, son.
It's just it's all shitty. It's all bad. But easily that clip I put up there today is easily the worst. But I kind of like it because it's so bad. It needs to be a certain level of bad for me to actually enjoy it. And I find myself chuckling at it because it's so stupid. But the story they're telling is good. And what I'm doing is really fun. And I like it a lot. The game is great. And it's on PlayStation Plus. You got a PS5 or a PS4, just get it. It'll play on either one. And it's out there. And it was on sale last week for like cheap. May still be if you want to just straight up buy it. It's on PC as well, but here's that stupid fairy.
On PC, it's like $60.
Yeah, it's up there. It's kind of newish. It's not that many years ago. What do I want to say? 2020 maybe?
2020. Yeah, it's just not on sale right now, I guess. I don't know.
This little wispy looking fairy lady, she's terrible. She's just terrible. And there's also my first companion's like a little girl who's like a healer type. I don't remember her name. She's got a great kit. She's fun to use, but she is so obnoxious. She says things like, how do you say it? It's like, oh no, my grandpa, I'll never see my grandpa again. Yeah, that kind of shit. It's real bad.
Boy.
But if you like, I don't know, there's something that takes me back about it. It's like it's retro but it feels new. It's cool. Would I say that this is the kind of remake I want? And boy, Final Fantasy VII remake could sure learn a thing or two. No. All right, that's miles cooler than this. And also innovates and does new things. It's not even the same game, really, right? And they even change story stuff. In this game, it is like straight up, hey, what if that world was in 3D? What if these characters talked out loud? And what if it was the exact same game that was already pretty good? That's what this is. And I like it. And the main character has really stupid hair. Just want to put that out there. Look at that hair.
Really great hair. I think you misspoke.
It looked cool in the 16-bit era. Right now, it looks like, I don't know. You couldn't sleep with that. It'd smother you or something. It's not like cool hair like Bo's hair.
No, it would clip through the bed, Scott. Come on.
you tie your hair up before going to bed so you don't.
That's true.
Pull it and stuff. Yeah.
She also enters him in a way that made me uncomfortable. It just happened on screen there. Anyway, it's worth
some
playing.
People pay good money for that, Scott.
That's right. That again is Trials of Mana remake on PS5 for free, or you can buy it in various places. Finally, the only thing I've really had time to put any real time into, about a couple hours anyway, is this new game called Tectonic. It is, what do you compare these to? You compare it to factory games, Factorio, and more like the first person one. It was a name I can't remember. Oh, Satisfactory is what I'm trying to say. Satisfactory is the game that this is the most like, but it's this weird underground cave thing where you're still wanting to build factories, but there's this weird story going on about why you're there, why all these facilities have failed, what you have to do to get it all back online again, and you start mining iron and turning it into ingots and all the stuff you're used to with these kinds of games. But it's all in these big caverns, and also the caves and the walls and everything and the floors even are destructible, so you can chip down or chip away or make holes, or some places are impenetrable till you get a certain tool, and then you can burrow right through the wall and you have a whole new part of the cave that opens up. You have these cool mines, like this mine right here I'm looking at, is you push it right up against a wall that has copper, for example, and then you can create your what do you call them? I can't think of words today. What are they called? The conveyor belts. Do conveyor belts, and then you have the converters and the stuff that turns it into ingots, and the ingots can go to storage, and then that stuff can be pulled somewhere else, and it's all that stuff, but it's done in this trippy cave thing, and has a story that's really gripped me in the 2 hours I played. I'm really interested in where that stuff goes. And the deformable, kind of almost like rock and stone kind of deformable stuff is pretty cool. Just feels like I should see dwarves around trying to kill spiders. It's weird. It's not quite as low poly as that game, as the games whose name I can't think of. What is it?
Dwarf game?
Dwarf game, but what's the game called?
Deep Rock Galactic.
Deep Rock Galactic. What the F is wrong with my head? Anyway, short-term, long-term memory, all effed up today. That's what happens when you play Trials of Mana, I guess. But anyway, it's like one of those. It's one of these. So you already know. If you hear me saying this and you're like, oh, I like factory automation games, well, then you're probably want to get this. And this one doesn't feel as like it has as high of a complication level. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't seem to be quite as gnarly as, say, something like Satisfactory, where you really got to plan ahead and there's a lot of dangers. Oh, that's the other thing. There's no creatures to kill you. You're not having to put up defense stuff. I hate that part of those games anyway. I always turn them off if I can, so it's fine with me. So if those sorts of things bug you in games like this, you'll probably like this. Anyway, and it's on Game Pass.
It's early access, right? So like,
yes,
they're developing it. So
correct. It's early on, but it feels pretty good so far. Pretty polished. I don't know what the total. I don't know what their ultimate roadmap looks like, but it's on Game Pass. I'm playing it there, so that was free for me. Basically, it's also on Steam in early access, and if you have Game Pass, no reason not to try it. It's neat. I like it, but only 2 hours in, so I don't have a huge bunch of stuff to say about it. I also cracked open Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. I did not play it yet, but I downloaded it. That's also on PlayStation Plus. I got a little. You know what? Thanks, Final Fantasy 16. You got me poking around my PlayStation a lot more.
There you go.
Nice job. I also uninstalled Final Fantasy 16. All right.
oh, you're
on.
done with it?
I'm not. I don't know if I'm done, but I'm done for now.
You're done with it?
Yeah, I don't know if I can keep going, dude. That game. John, you know what? I love John's review on the Core Daily video. If you guys haven't seen it, you should. John's going to talk about that in a minute, but it's really, I think I agree with almost everything he says.
Yeah.
It's just
not all games are for everyone.
That's the thing. That's what I walked away with was, you know what? John and I don't have to love the same things the same.
Oh.
No one ever expected us to anyway. Neither did either of us. It's just, it's just fine. It's fine. And I have the cloud saves. I can install it again if I want to play it again. But I ran out of room for Ratchet & Clank, so I took it off.
All right. Well, if you're not into it that much, then it makes sense. It's
yeah.
fine.
And then, like I say, maybe later. I may get an itch later, and I'll go back, and I'm far enough where I could, barrel through. But I hit a lot of roadblocks in that. All right, that's what I played this week. John, speaking of Final Fantasy 16, where'd you land on that? How'd they do?
I landed it. I'm done. I finished it. Completed. Beat the game.
Yeah.
Done with it. Although when you beat the game, it does unlock New Game Plus mode, which is all the usual stuff, like start the game with everything you had, but it also unlocks a difficulty called Final Fantasy, which is a much higher difficulty. The level cap goes up. The encounters are different. There are new weapons, new enemies. There's new stuff. So it's not just like hey, replay the game with what you had, and it's harder. There's actually some changes. So I might poke around in that, but I have finished the journey for now. It was quite a ride. A lot of people have said, where do you rank this on like your big Final Fantasy list? Like, where does this fall? And honestly, I think this might be the hardest one in the series to rank. Like, as a Final Fantasy game, it's missing a lot of elements that I personally think are really important to be a good Final Fantasy. But how do you look at so what my favorite so far is probably 6 if I was going to pick a favorite. But how do I look at the battles of 6?
Yeah.
Our little turn-based battles, our little sprites looking at each other, and compare them to like what you're showing on screen right now and go, well, that's comparable. Let's just pick whatever we're gonna pick from this.
Yeah.
And it's just really, really hard to compare. I like them both for very different reasons. There are some things that I really wish were in this game that aren't, but there are some new additions to this game that I absolutely love. It will be very, very hard for me to play either going back to Final Fantasy VII Remake or when the next one comes out to be away from this combat system. I liked this combat system so much, I am going to miss the hell out of it when I go and play either other action games or other Final Fantasies that are trying to be more action-oriented. So, there's things I absolutely love about it. But, like you've said, Scott, it is not a perfect video game. It has slow moments. It has slow plotting moments. I do owe Scott a little bit of an apology, but not really. He complained about anime BS
Long
in
John
this game.
Yeah.
Let me give him kind of a little apology, like a half apology.
Okay, I'll take it. Even a quarter is fine. A quarter would be all right.
Because I kind of got on him for saying like, Scott, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's anime BS.
Yeah.
I still stand by Scott did not get to the anime BS in this game. But this game goes full anime by the end.
Oh, you mean it gets worse for him, basically.
Yes. This game absolutely goes space laser fireballs pushing back and forth while everybody's yelling, who's gonna win? Battle of wills versus gods. It's a lot of anime by the end. Now, I don't think Scott's characters are talking about how they feel with cool hair is necessarily a criticizable level of anime, but it gets there. The unfortunate thing is I'm an unapologetic fan of Dragon Ball Z, and I thought it was all great.
Yeah.
Every time it got bigger in scale, and every time people did stupid things to just escalate it further, I went, well, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened in video gaming. So I had a very, very fun time. And, I said it in my review. There has not been a video game in a long time that I can think of that made me laugh and cheer while playing it. And this game did that multiple times. And so I agree quite a lot with Scott on some of the more boring elements of this game. It does have lulls in the action. I do understand ultimately where those benefit the narrative, and I think they do. I think those down moments where you're just talking to people actually serve the narrative in a cool way. But I get that they're there, and I get that they are slow paced and not for everyone. But the big moments of this video game I was just so into and are just so cool that I love it. I really loved my time with this video game.
So give us we don't do scores on the show, but if you had to apply one.
No, it's in my review. I gave it a score.
Oh, that's
I
right.
absolutely
You did.
gave it a score. I used Bo's scale.
That's right.
And using Bo's scale, it's a 16 out of 10.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I like it.
A 16 on 10, as Bo would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's Final Fantasy 16, so 16 out of 10.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's great. It is.
All right. So I should play, I'm watching the clip that's your clip of play that Scott was showing, and it's like it's hard to watch that and be like, no, I should be playing that like that.
Oh no, it's so cool. This
Like,
shit is
like,
so cool.
It looks amazing. I'm just waiting for it on PC. It's not worth $800 to me. But
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I think the
I'm pretty
PC
sure I'll
version's
play
gonna
it.
be awesome.
Yeah, PC version
I'm pretty
should be
sure
great.
I'm gonna play this like 100%.
I'm guessing John won't buy this again on PC, right?
Yes, day one.
Yeah.
I will pay full price for it.
Yeah.
If there's a collector's edition with some other tchotchke, I'll do that too. This is really, really cool. I had a great time with it.
Yeah, and these fights, like we're showing here, are, I don't know if I made this clear. They are really, really impressive. Like it's quite literally like, part of me wants to go back in time every decade and show my old self this and say, look what video games do now. Because it's really something to see happening in real time in a rendered engine. It's insane. But boy, they talk about stuff that bores
the
me.
one you're showing, I picked because it's more epic than anything you got to, Scott.
Yeah.
But it's also not the most epic that this game gets. So I was like, I'm comfortable with this. This is about a middle ground of epicness that we can show here. And it's just cool. But you're 100% right. It's hard to go from doing this to walking around town listening to I'm really sad. And, it's a shift, and it's a shift you may not always be ready for and always, ready to jump on. But I liked it. I thought it was a great time. And, I think between Scott and I, given you plenty of examples where you can judge whether or not it's for you.
Yeah, for sure. It does look like something, Bo, you'd really enjoy, and I think you have a stronger stomach for the...
I like. Well, I'm anime stuff is fine with me.
Yeah, you're down with it.
We're gonna talk about that stuff because I've got something along those lines that I've been playing too. But I wanted to say, John, like that Ifrit guy is already a giant, right?
Yeah,
it's already huge.
Like, yeah. So it's the scale is like the fact that he looks like an ant compared to what he's fighting is kind of preposterous because Ifrit's already a giant, at least in terms of a human.
This guy's like earth-shatteringly large that he's fighting, and the thing is, like, we can all stop talking about Shadow of the Colossus as if no one ever did anything like that again, because this is like, this exceeds
Shadow of the Colossus
that.
In a way raised the bar on boss fights, and finally we're getting, we're seeing that just be like a thing here.
It's really something.
It's a lot like a game that not a lot of people played, but there's a game called Azura's Wrath.
Oh,
Which was a game that, like...
That's a weird one.
Was the same deal where people were, like, punching planets, and you were, like, a person standing on a planet catching a fist that was big enough to wipe out an entire planet. Like, it was another one of these where the scale was just absolutely insane, and it will surprise you not at all to know that I also thought that game was very good. So, I definitely have a benchmark of things that I like, and apparently that scale just getting pushed to an insane amount, I am just 100% okay with.
Yeah, Zera's Wrath was like 360 PS3 era something?
I think
I think so, but I remember seeing that and going, "Are you kidding me? Like, are you really is this possible? Like, is that guy bigger than the planet now after this thing he just did or whatever?" Like, that game.
Yeah, crazy. It gets to the dumb scale of like, well, what if we just threw galaxies at one another? It just keeps going and it just doesn't stop. And Final Fantasy 16 doesn't quite go that big, but it finds ways to top that. So, it's kind of nuts.
Yeah, this game still looks kind of good.
It does. They should put it back out. They should use Final Fantasy 16 as inspiration and realize that, like, oh, people want to do dumb stuff on a really insane scale. Let's put that out again. Yeah,
Azura's what's another word we could do? Azura's Wrath. Now we got Azura's Frustration. I don't know what it would be. That's the new game.
Yeah.
Well, all right then. There you go, you guys. Your final look at what John thought of that game. That's awesome. Tell us about, you've been still playing Halls of Torment. I have as well. I forgot to mention that. So it sounds like you and I are both, we're both fans of Halls of Torment, turns out.
Yeah. Halls of Torment is awesome. Like, this is, I'm now hitting that moment where you kind of make the shift from like, I'm kind of losing every run badly to now, oh, I can beat the first stage, and oh, I can beat the second stage, but it takes a while. And it is the first time that I've gotten really into a game like this since Vampire Survivors. Like, I've played others and I've liked others. This is the first one where I've really started to see that power progression because I keep playing it and can't stop. And this has just been my go-to. I don't know what to play. I think a lot of people are like this when you play a game that's really long and really involved. And I, spent weeks now playing Final Fantasy 16. You just need something of a palate cleanser. You don't go like, oh, I'm gonna go Final Fantasy 16. Good, got it done. Let me just dive into the deep end on something else. So I'm kind of figuring out what I'm gonna play next. And I just want, kind of dumb, easy fun since then. And this is what that game has been, or this is the game that's been that for me. It's real simple. And, as I talked about last week with my little call-in bit, I like that you can set it to be very automatic like Vampire Survivors, or you can kind of take manual control. And I like that it's not a setting that has to be universally applied to your run. So you can be playing where it's just like, all I'm doing is moving the character, like Vampire Survivors. I have no agency beyond that. I'm just moving the character. But then you can say, you know what? Like, there's a boss in the second stage that goes underground and pops up. And so if you're auto-aiming, it can be hard to kill a boss like that because maybe when he's above ground, you're not targeting him. So with the press of a button, you can switch to manual and really aim and focus down bosses. Or if you're getting surrounded and you want to create an escape for yourself, you can take control and manually aim too. And I just think that that's really smart. It adds a level of additional control that I don't think is necessarily needed in this, but turns out when it's optional, I really like it being there.
Yeah, I do too. And it's genius not to make me have to go through two menus to find it. You just do it. Yeah. And it doesn't stop the gameplay. It doesn't change anything. You just keep going. And if you want to turn it off again, you turn it off with a switch of a button. Controller support's really good. It's a really neat little one of these, Our mutual friend Liam O'Brien sent me a message just this week saying, I can't stop playing this thing. I'm like, I know, right?
It's so good.
He loves it.
And it just reminds me of old original Diablo. Yep. And it's nice.
The
sound
everything
about it.
The sound of those skeletons going down is that is such a nostalgia switch for me. It just reminds me of Diablo 1 and 2, that crunchy clinking sound of a falling skeleton. I don't know what it is about that, but this game's got a ton of that. It's great. And when you get like a health potion, it's not quite the Blizzard drink sound, but it's close to that potion sound.
It's close enough. Yeah. It's close enough to make you mad that Blizzard didn't do this.
Yeah, I agree.
And we've already had that conversation. Just make the game Blizzard. I know. I'm gonna keep banging the drum. Actually, I'm gonna. But like, it does bum me out that like, why are we playing this clear homage to the game when we could be literally playing a Diablo version of it?
And they could
I
sell
guess
it for
I don't
12.
know. Maybe I'm happier that an indie guy is getting my money than Blizzard.
You could
at
probably
this
make
point,
a mod.
but-
If D4 had modding, you could definitely just make a mod.
Yeah, that could be interesting. And the D4 engine, that could be.
Just use all the
It could be something.
But I like that it's the old original Diablo. Like,
yeah, I like the crusty.
I like that it's those icons or those style icons and armor and sounds and the weird lighting on the ground, and the enemies look vaguely claymation.
Yeah,
like it's really nice.
The way the characters move, they kind of swivel on these feet that walk like a moonwalk kind of. I don't know. It's all obviously care has been taken to remind people of what that felt like.
Is it WASD movement?
It can be. You can do mouse and keyboard or controller. I think controller works really well on it. But
do you move with the arrow keys, or do you?
Oh yeah, it's WASD for movement, and you don't click move like you would in Diablo. Yeah, that's a good.
I think you can turn it on though, because I did see an option for click move.
Oh really?
But I play with a controller, so I don't know.
Yeah, same.
I haven't turned it on, but I did see something in the options about click movement. So it could be.
Yeah.
But I didn't go that route.
It's pretty neat though. Good game and cheap. So
I just wish they'd make one that plays like an actual ARPG.
like a
I don't like the autoplay, and I'm not gonna make some big criticism about it. I don't like the auto shooting business.
Sure. Well, if you, I mean, it seems like only a matter of time, right? Somebody's gonna make one of these that plays like a proper Diablo game. That could be.
Feels like you can branch off of these in some interesting ways. You know, I think the difference between Scott and I, and the reason why we have different tastes in these, is if I'm gonna play a game like this, I want it to be simple. I don't want it to be complicated.
Right.
But if I go to an ARPG for an ARPG, I go to this for this. Like, I'm not looking for something crazy, but this does have some interesting depth. Like, it does have armor, and those armors do have skills and stuff that modify the game in interesting ways. Like, there's some armor that converts to where all your attacks do burning damage, which then leans into a trait that increases your burning damage overall. So there's interesting things you can do with it. I think if I was going to have one criticism for this game, it's that I do wish that there was a little more to it. Obviously, with games like this, that could come. Like,
it's early
I think they
access,
have done an official release. Like, it is officially 1.0, but
I thought it was,
I think they are. Is it not officially out? I thought I bought it as part of it officially coming out.
You might be right, and I've forgotten.
But that doesn't mean they're not going to update it, right? Like, that doesn't mean it's done. That just means it's in an official release. I don't know.
Sure.
I feel like this game could have more to
It says
it.
early access game currently.
Still early access.
Early
Okay,
access.
so more is, I would say, a given at this point. And
more characters and stuff too.
Good criticism is I wish there was more to it.
Yeah.
So.
And this has, overwhelmingly positive reviews. That's always good sign. Also, it has a demo. If you don't want to spend the $4.99 to buy it, people listening, you can go get basically it's the prelude, and it has a lot of content in it, so it's worth maybe getting that if you're not sure. Also amazing on Steam Deck. Side note. Awesome. Oh, and that reminds me, there are a bunch of people in our Discord working together to make a game. And it's basically core survivors, and you'll pick characters like me or Bo or John or others in the community, and you'll play as survivors and they're making crazy progress on this frickin' thing.
Yeah, it's not nothing. Like it I guess it's Spaghetti Syntax kind of is the name. I think
he's heading it up.
He's heading it up, like deving it, and is like, oh, it's kind of cute, but he seems to be working on it like quite regularly. There's like it's a whole thing in development. I actually haven't had a chance to try the latest build. Has anyone here?
I have not.
I
have not had a chance to play
I see gameplay, and it's like, yeah, it's like becoming a thing.
I'm not sure he's listed up or posted up a playable link. If he has, I missed it. But he's been doing videos of development and then testing. He made a working like little joust game in this video, which is crazy. Anyway, he's got us in them, and we look great, and it's just too good to be true. So I can't wait to see what they end up doing with that. If anyone out there is like, hey, I'd like to be involved in this project somehow, you can go to our Discord and just jump into the group called, it is called Indie Game Development in the Core Forum on Discord. And there's updates in there all the time.
You never know. He might need some music or some animation assets. I know Fun Bobby has been making some stuff, gave him some stuff. If anyone else is interested in just contributing to a project, they should go join that channel and help out.
Please do. It's so cool. And if you got even people that are like, hey, I could provide some, art or music.
It's just a for fun thing. So if you have some time, want to make some stuff for fun, want to get those creative juices flowing.
Yep.
Then
are these cigarettes he's shooting out? What are these? They look like cigarettes.
In the cross shape?
I don't know. They're like
who is it?
I think that's me.
Is that you? It's a GIF, so it's
I don't
hard
know.
to say.
I do the Naruto run, and it kind of looks like that's the Naruto run.
Yeah, that's true. You do the Well, that's true in real life too. John runs
I
like that.
posted on the message board that I was really like confused because I saw my model like bent over in that pose.
Yeah.
I thought it was commentary on back problems that I was having, but then I realized that I hadn't said anything about it. So how would they have possibly known? But I was just really concerned. I was like, how do they know I'm having back problems right now?
That's
Like,
amazing.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, here it is.
And I realized, it's the Naruto run.
They do have a link to it. Oh, that's awesome. You know what I'm gonna do right now? Because may as well right now. I know John's got other stuff to talk about, but let's just insert this because we're talking about community stuff. So there's some other guys in there, like for example, Fun Bobby has been making a 3D arcade room that's got like Super Lake Run in it and all these other like real games like Donkey Kong and stuff. But he also made this insane intro that I want to show everybody. It's not a real intro, it's like an animation, and it's called Core Cart. All right. And there's going to be audio as well here. So let me pull this up and I'll play it. Hold on. Where is it? Down here. Okay. This is amazing. So chat, here you go. He put it on you. Oh, I got to turn it on. There's some audio. Okay, volume. Here we go. There's our cars. We got like a Mad Max on the car. Bo's got VR controllers.
Wait, I got 4 hands?
You have hands that are VR controlled.
Oh, I got you.
John and I just jousted each other. That's cool. And then there's us at the end jumping. You got frog wrestling on your shirt, John. You got VR on Bo's shirt.
Yeah.
That's too cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, man.
I love when our community does rad shit. I love it. Keep it up, guys. We'll keep promoting it. We'll keep trying to help you do stuff. We want this kind of thing to thrive here. So thank you all for your awesome work. All right. Moving on, John, to frog wrestling update. Beep, 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 beep. What's going on over there?
Frog wrestling had a huge night last night. Everybody continues to be just the most fun thing I do every week. I felt a little bad. Powerful force in it.
Sorry.
Oh, there's me.
It was supposed to be muted. Sorry. There you go. Continue.
But we've had some big roster changes. You know, Bo got kicked out of core. He's no longer in core. Brian Dunaway took his spot. So we debuted 2 Point Bo, which is the sequel to Bo, and he's by far, he's the real popular guy. Version 2 Point Bo, and he had a great night. He did really, really well. But
you even have it on my. It's actually written on my shirt.
Yeah, that mouth thing you do on the camera. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, he's real good. He's got bandages down one arm because, and this is his words, not mine. They're absorbent. They absorb the smells and tastes of the taint better.
Wow.
Which makes it a more effective move to use against his enemies. He also debuted a new attack called the Lake Run, which unfortunately both Tanner Goodman and Tom Merritt had to deal with.
They tasted the Lake Run.
Yeah, they tasted the Lake Run.
Yeah.
But not just Bo. We had 3 debuts. Mark and Nicole Spagnolo were out this week.
Mm-hmm.
And Kim Johnson showed up as well in a big surprise debut. And it's been a lot of fun.
2 Point Bo written on my ass.
Yep. It's your new persona, man. Look at that.
Yeah, 2 Point Bo. You're living your post-core life. Still got the VR goggles.
Where's my One Piece?
Yeah, you've graduated from the One Piece for now.
Yeah.
You're now just in shorts.
Shorts and exposed arm injuries.
I like Tom Merritt's like fully dressed.
I like Merritt's chaps tassel things that you gave him. Those are cool.
Yeah, that's basically the obligatory Mod Syndicate pants. Anybody that's a member of the Mod Syndicate gets those pants and shoes as part of their gear. They come out in suits otherwise.
It's beautiful.
Kim did really good. You know,
I heard she did. She loves her design. She was so excited when I showed it to her.
Oh, did she end up liking it?
She
Yeah,
loved it.
she per your recommendation, we call her the Mississippi Queen.
Yep.
People are very worried that we're gonna see a Kim and Scott ruling the organization, a power duo. People are already saying the Skim faction is gonna take over.
Oh shit.
Kristen, I also have to give a special shout out. In fact, you may even want to go see if you can find it in the video.
Is it back or past all this?
It would be back. It would be earlier in the video.
If I can find it. Let's see. We got
And
oh yeah, that's.
well, I'll see if I can pull up a timestamp too. Oh, there it is. Go back a little bit further from that. But she had a crazy new intro. She had maybe one of the most hype matches I've ever seen against WWE's Bianca Belair for Pride, because Kristen has never, for a time, had never been pinned. And she lost 2 weeks ago to Martha because Bianca Belair from the WWE interfered in a match.
Oh shit!
And it was legal because it was an anything goes match, but this was Kristen's chance to get revenge on Bianca Belair, and people were hyped for that. So right now, Kristen and Bo, easily the most popular wrestlers on the roster. They get a lot of love. Scott, I am so pleased to say people hate you. And I'm happy about it because it means that I'm doing a good job. People genuinely do not want you to win.
Yeah.
They get mad. They think you cheat. You did try to cheat and help Brian Dunaway in his match. It didn't end up working, and he ended up losing to Garrett.
Yeah.
But people are like, of course Scott cheated. Like the chat really gets into it, and really don't like the things you do to get victories. So I'm quite pleased with you as a bad guy. You're doing a fantastic job. And it's kind of good that Bo got kicked out of core because he was supposed to be a bad guy, and everybody just cheered for him anyway. And so it's good. He's where he belongs
my best
now.
life on the outside, being beloved.
And
not
I
not
will
part of the hater core organization. Yeah.
I love it, dude. And I love Kristen's slow ass, methodical entrance business.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
it is an
way more, like,
insanely long
demonic.
entrance.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the crowd's going wild, right? That's the whole point here.
Oh, people were so hyped for this entrance. Oh yeah, people are saying don't forget Team Film Sack broke up. That is true. Film Sack broke up.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you were the first one to leave
Great.
when you signed on with Core.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then Brian Dunaway signed on with Core. And Randy has been he's been going a little ego mad.
Yeah.
And he's been wanting to do matches on his own. He challenged you 1v1 for the title. It's been intense, and he finally called it quits on Dunaway, and he ditched him too. And poor Dunaway, or not Dunaway, Ibbett, has been ditched by 3 teammates over the course of wrestling.
Oh, man.
And Ibbett got his chance at redemption this week, going up against Randy for ditching out on him. And yeah, it's just been good. It's been good high drama from a bunch of people that all genuinely like each other and like have no animosity.
Right.
But it's been a lot of fun, and this has been a wild change. My favorite little inside joke, if I can just pat myself on the back. So for the longest time, we had Brian Dunaway as a good guy. We called him Super Dunaway, and his getup was Super Mario themed.
Right.
And I gave him a new costume that was like a modern take on Super Mario. But now he's a bad guy on Core. So I gave him, he'll be near the start. I think he was like one of the first matches.
Is he now Brian Oneaway?
Yes, so
Wario?
I changed his color scheme. I kept the same outfit, but I changed his color scheme to Wario because now he's on Core. It'll be the match
Brian
after
Oneaway.
this one. So
after
this opened it, and then it would be so go just a little further in
Probably
if you want
this
to
one.
see.
Oh yeah, it's got yellow. You'll see it in a second, but he's got the yellow and the purple.
So I've themed him after Wario now on account of his heel turn.
Look at me creeping back there like an a-hole butthole.
Yeah, I had to give you a different picture. You were too happy and smiley in yours for the villain you've become. So now
Yeah.
you're broody and dark. Everybody's looking to knock you off the mountain.
Yeah. As they should, you know. Look at me and my
Yeah.
bad attitude. That's great. I love everything about this week's update. I wasn't able to see the entirety of any of the matches yet, but I plan to. And anyone can over on your YouTube channel, Craftless Rogue on YouTube. So go check it out.
That's right.
One final thing I was going to say. Oh, I was going to say this game deserves some credit for having really cool volumetric fog and smoke effects.
Yeah.
It's impressive. It almost looks real when that camera's just like trained on the stage waiting for an entrance. It's like, oh my gosh.
Facial expressions I noticed are pretty good too. There's some like subtle movements. Like they've done a lot of work in the facial expressions department.
Yep. Oh, look at him Warioing up there. And me in my dumb shorts.
Jorts Johnson. That's your nickname.
Yeah.
If you ever
Fortnite
become a good
Scott.
guy, I think we have to get rid of the jorts and we can just blame all your bad behavior on the jorts. Like, we'll
Oh,
just-
maybe
the
they were
jorts.
magically possessed. Like someone stole his jorts,
Yeah.
and now they become the villain.
I love
yeah, we'll put whoever the new villain is in jorts, and the story will be Scott had possessed jorts.
Maybe what you do is there's like some magical ritual that happens that separates them two. One is Scott Johnson. One is like Scott. No, you have to separate. Like one is Jorts Johnson, the evil version, evil Scott, and then the good guy Scott is like Fortnite Scott.
Yeah, you could do it. You could even dupe the models, right? Just have one in
Yeah.
jorts and this
Yeah,
is
like
too
you,
good.
you somehow magically have two Scotts. One is Jorts Johnson, and the other is Fortnite Scott.
Garrett
Yeah,
looking all
there's
gnarly.
there's a lot of really cool ideas with possessed pants. They're the frog pants, you know.
Yep.
The frog pants are
No, the
possessed.
frog pants. Only the frog pants can beat the jorts.
There you go. Yeah, that'll be the
That's-
story.
Sorry, it's awesome.
That's great. I love it. Go check it out. Craftless Rogue when he does it live on Twitch and also the archives on YouTube, same name. So go check those out. You're going to FanFest next week. Is that the Phoenix one? The Phoenix formerly Comic-Con, or what is it?
No, that is the Final Fantasy 14
Oh, shit.
version of BlizzCon in Las Vegas.
That's
Is
right.
that like official? Like not
Yeah.
a-
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I was
Horatio, not Horatio. Yoshi P's gonna be there.
Horatio
Yoshi P is gonna be there.
Horatio
Yeah,
P.
we're gonna get to see Yoshi P and hang out and have a good time.
That's great. I was going to try
Are
to
you gonna
sneak
try
down
and
there.
meet him?
I was going to try to.
yeah,
but
if
my
I can meet him, I'll 100%.
Oh,
meet him,
Yoshi
yeah.
P. Yeah, you should. You totally should.
Interview for core. Can we? Is there press? Like, how do you apply for press?
Like, that's the thing, is there were no press passes that we were aware of.
So maybe you just approach him. You
Like,
just
it
approach him and go,
really is
Yoshi P.
designed
son.
for
Yoshi P. son.
fans. Yeah.
Just beg like go
Yeah.
Yoshi P. son, and then get on your knees and like I'm learning from I'm playing Yakuza, so I'm learning how to do this. Like just beg and just say it would be a great honor.
Oh,
to have
he's
an
the
interview for-
worst in that game about that stuff. He goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir." Before he grows his hair out. That guy's great. John, you're going to have a great time, and I was going to sneak down there, but then my family reunion happened the same week, so it wasn't going to happen. So I'm very excited to hear what you see and hear and do.
Yeah,
you
we'll talk about it because Core's going to be not that week. So your family reunion might prevent you from going to FanFest, but it does mean that we're both going to be on the show on Monday.
That's right.
And
You got there. You got
there
yeah,
eventually.
We're both able going to be.
Yep.
Whatever.
Scott and I both are having real struggles today.
got a
I don't know
linguistic-
what it
I'm
is.
struggling too. I'm feeling a little sleepy.
This week's really messed me
I
up.
got
I've had
all
a
the
week.
right words, but not in the correct order. We'll flip them around and get there eventually.
I ate.
And able to do hour 3s of podcasts.
Yeah, we're getting too old for that stuff. See, that's what's going on. Well, anyway, I'm excited for you. That's going to be a really fun thing. And Vegas is only about 117 degrees, but you're used to it. You're in Phoenix or the roundabouts, so you'll be used to it. It'll be fine. That heat will be normal for you.
Yeah, I
So-
wish I could say I was escaping the heat, but
No.
I won't be.
Well, right now,
Be
anyway, it's
continuing it somewhere else.
really hot down there. Okay, Bo, you've been playing Yakuza Like a Dragon, which I also have
Yeah,
played
so
a bit of,
I
and I'm
put
excited to
in
hear.
I put this in the wrong order though. The explanation is this. Remember last week I was like, I'm going to go play some Diablo 4 after the show.
Yeah,
Well,
you did.
my hardcore rogue died.
Yeah.
I lost my hardcore.
How long after the show was it? Much
like 2 hours.
2 hours of gameplay.
2 hours level. It was actually level 89. I keep saying level 90, but it's actually level 89. But like I said on the show, I was getting kind of weak, and my defenses were a problem. But instead of taking that seriously, I just pushed Nightmare Dungeons and watched the second screen. It was kind of casually doing shit, and I was in an event, and I got overwhelmed and chain frozen, and my brain was too slow to be like scroll of escape. I was like, oh, this isn't good, and then I just blew it.
So how many hours on the character as a whole? Do you know?
I don't know, but level 89, it's probably like 7 or 8 days worth of,
Damn,
it was a lot.
It's a lot.
But it's all good. Season 1 started anyways. Who cares? It's all about seasons now, so it's fine. I was like a little stunned for a little bit, and I'm like, I'm actually okay. Like this is whatever.
Do we want to talk about the big freak out around all this season 1 stuff and the nerfs?
We have it in the news, which we'll leave. We don't need to talk.
Well, sort of.
Yeah,
we gotta. Yeah, we'll get to it.
Oh, the ghost crawler thing. Okay,
we'll get to it. Yeah, but I just wanted to let people know I lost a character, and I'm fine.
Okay,
everything's okay.
And I'm fine. He's okay.
You got borked pretty hard. That's a lot, dude. I feel like if I were you, I'm not saying that this is how it should be or how I would feel if I did it, but when I heard you got killed, I went, if I were Bo, I would not want to play Diablo anymore. Like that would be
that's where I was like, yeah, fair enough. That's when I was like, my reaction was I was so like not caring about losing the character. Like, I was like, probably means I'm done with the game for now. It was honestly, the game's getting pretty boring. Like the game gets pretty boring. On your second character trying to grind it to 100. So
sure.
Yeah.
Well, plus you've played now. This is what, like 200 hours or more total.
Yeah, like it's not a fault of, not necessarily a fault of the game. We can elaborate later, but certainly, if I wasn't caring that much about the consequences of what I was doing, probably I've had my fill. I've eaten enough, and I'm good.
Yeah, it was like that's Skyrim levels of hours. I mean, you played a lot of that game.
I mean it's a lot of hours, especially in basically the span of a month. And it made me realize I should play some other stuff. And I was like, what should I play? I'm looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3, but that's not out yet. What should I do? And I've been like having a Yakuza craving, and I was like, okay, Like a Dragon was on sale. I bought it. Play this shit. I was like, all right, I'm taking a break from the old Diablo 4. Goodbye. And man, what a good choice of a game.
It's a great game.
Yeah, so I played it a little bit when I had it on Game Pass, but now I'm seriously playing it. And this, like, even for a Yakuza game, like, I love this main character so much.
He's my favorite
and
ever.
This game makes me feel so good inside. I love doing good deeds for people. I like beating up bad guys who are seriously crummy. And the weird shit is really weird, which is going to be in this video in a second. So how far have either of you played?
I've played 3 hours of this game and hope to play more soon because I'm
probably right around the same.
Yeah. So
I didn't give up because I didn't want to play.
See this.
I played 3 hours up until Diablo 4 came out. That's why I stopped. But I think it's time to go back.
Yeah,
why are these people in diapers? What is going on here? What is happening?
Well, this guy, this straight-laced guy is looking for milk, and these guys are Yakuza, like to spend their off hours pretending to be babies with a madam who mothers them. And they were stealing the milk from the guy, and we're like, Ichiban, that's the main character, is always looking for the silver lining, and he's like, well, we can get milk. Everyone can be happy. Like, if the Yakuza want milk, let's get them milk too. So he goes and grabs some milk because he thinks he hears a crying baby, and the Yakuza needed the milk. But as it turns out, in a shocking revelation, the Yakuza actually need the milk to roleplay as babies in a weird sex room. And that's what's happening. And now they're pissed that we're spoiling their fun and judging them, so we're about to fight now. The punchline to this thing is this Yakuza becomes a buddy of yours, and you can call on him as what's known as a pound mate. you have this mechanic in the game called pound mates, which are summons that you call them on the phone. It's like a service like Postmates, I guess, but they come and pound enemies for you. It's hilarious. But yeah, no, now you're fighting dudes in diapers.
Yeah.
And this game is successfully hilarious, but also, like, look, if you compare it to like Grand Theft Auto, because Yakuza are criminals, criminal family. It's all about criminals.
Right.
But somehow the heroes of these games are like these mythological Yakuza, which is just basically your Batman without the money and without the costume. Like you just do good deeds all the live long day, even for. But notably, there's like a nuance to like you don't consider like prostitutes the scum of society. Like you'll stick up for them. They're human beings. Like it's surprisingly kind of just nuanced in what it decides to be bad, which is like hurting other people, bad, stealing from other people, bad, being a corrupt cop, bad. Like just it's very it can be nuanced about these things, which is also kind of great. This game makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
You've only played 3 hours. You should play all of it.
Oh, I'm gonna play
I've
more.
played the investment mini game. I'm getting into dragon karting. I maxed out. One of the first games you get is picking up cans. I maxed out the cans. This game is good, and what I want to emphasize here is the storytelling in this game does a good job of making you want to beat up the bad guys. I notice there's a real lack of that in gaming general, like where they try to just make you really hate the bad guys. And the Yakuza series, I gotta say, does a really good job, just as you're about to fight a boss, reminding you of the reasons why this guy's a bastard and making you like just excited to fight the enemy and kill them. Or you don't kill them. No, you beat them up and teach them a lesson, really.
Yeah. And do it all in beautiful turn-based fashion.
The turn-based is like amazing. Like the jobs that you end up getting, so you can switch jobs.
Right.
I'm now a break dancer as Ichiban, and I do break dancing. And the homeless guy, Namba, he's now a rocker, but he's like Japan style rocker. He's got like a vest and like a gaudy shirt. And you can be a K-pop idol. So the girl is now a K-pop idol who has a microphone for a weapon. And I think I'm just like a construction worker for Adachi. But anyways, yeah, the characters are awesome. This game is awesome. It's kind of telling. I'm having so much fun and not falling asleep playing this. It makes me question how much I really like Diablo, or how done I am with Diablo. Right? I was like, oh, like I'm super into it. I'm like, to compare, I've been falling asleep playing Diablo 4. The past 2 nights I've played this, I haven't streamed it. I've just been chilling. I've been up to like 5 a.m. I'm like, I gotta go to bed, man. Like I have some time off this week, so don't worry. There's no
how far in the game are you? That makes it sound like this thing is
I'm
huge.
chapter 7 of I think 15 chapters.
Oh, wow.
No, I stayed up all night doing the investment mini game, dog.
Yeah, he's doing side stuff.
I am now a number one share. Our share price has moved up to number 1. We are now the number 1 corporation in Yoshijiro, I think is the name of the Yokohama, I think.
Yokohama.
Yeah, and all because there's an NPC who comes up and it's like, who was taken advantage of and needs help with her, pastry shop. I can't remember exactly what the pastry or the food is, and then you end up getting a little investment money. But then Nick Ogata wants you to, become top 100. You just kind of get wrapped up in the whole ordeal, and the investment mini game is its own thing. But you make good money from it. So now I've got lots of yen, but. I don't know. This game so far it's kicking ass. And people are gonna ask too. Oh, it's Yakuza. Where do I start? Just start with this game or Yakuza 0. If you want an action game, start with Yakuza 0. If you want the turn-based role-playing game, I just say play like a dragon. Actually, there's less baggage in this game too because you're kind of playing Ichiban, who's a new character.
Yeah.
Or there's the Lost Judgment games, which are also, if you want a fighting game that's more serious, apparently those are well reviewed, and they are Yakuza games, even though they don't have the Yakuza branding on them.
Yeah.
Anyways,
such a wild series.
This game's awesome. It's so much fun.
Are you I assume you're excited about the ones they announced at
well, yeah. Now I'm like, now that I'm into this game, I have a sequel to look forward to. The Infinite Wealth, it's called.
Yep.
And I'm actually kind of interested in the new Yakuza, Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, which is definitely you play as Kiryu and some sort of I don't know what, but I'm just like it's the.
But that's back to direct action, right?
Game.
You're
turn-based
down
for sure.
Yeah,
and like I said, the Judgment games are Yakuza games, but with more of a different protagonist. But they're basically Yakuza.
Yeah.
But you play a fighting lawyer. It's just the style of game. Anyways, the game's amazing. It's been a nice after mint, or what do they call it?
After dinner mint?
Yeah, or nightcap on the Diablo 4, because I think I'm pretty much done with Diablo 4. I did log in and play a bit today just to check out the season. It actually seems kind of all right, but it's still,
It's more of what you've been doing for
Diablo
a
4
month.
can now be like, do I feel like slaying some demons for a few hours? Like log in real quick, pick a character and go. It can just be that now.
Yeah.
I'm not, like I said last week, I'm not trying to cut content on this. Why am I playing it like that? Like I don't care. Like it's
oh my gosh, I'm sorry. The baby men and our main protagonist are having a milk drinking contest, and I have to show this to the chat. Okay,
Yeah.
So this is coming up on the video here. Here we go. Bo's drinking coffee while it's happening. This is amazing. All right,
what's wrong with milk?
so watch this contest. He takes a baby bottle. There he goes. Gurk, gurk, gurk. This one takes, and then Ichiban takes one of them. This is so dumb. This is why this game's great, though, because it's so weird and dumb. I can't wait to play more. You're making me want to play it.
Yeah. So, and he actually said what the thing, when I got the choice came up, I was like, sure, what the hell? And Ichiban was like, sure, what the hell? And I was like, that's what I said. I was like, no, we're toasting to good, to honor or something like that, right?
Yeah.
It's not a competition. It's more just a toast. And he's like, boys, 2 more baby bottles, room temp.
Give me a, I want like a Yakuza MMO. That's what I want. I want to make a character in this world.
But seriously, like, even though the Yakuza games have a reputation, Yakuza Like a Dragon stands alone as both a hilarious game, but also your NPC is wants to be a hero. He's good natured to a fault, and it's these preposterous.
All right, it's all 3 of us. Great. Good.
These preposterous. I can't say it.
You got it. Almost. You had it.
Preposterous situations.
There you go.
Where clearly you'd be shot or killed, but somehow Ichiban always comes up on top trying to do the right thing. And it's the ultimate feel-good video game. If you haven't played it, well, it's not on sale anymore, but you should have bought it while it was on sale.
Well, and it's also PlayStation Plus Extra and Game Pass both have it still. So
yeah.
Grab it.
It's fantastic, and I'm gonna keep playing it. It's my main game at the moment.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
Also plays really well on Steam Deck. I always like to mention when that's the case. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back from this break, we've got Dear Martha. We've got some other news that came up this week. We'll talk about that Diablo stuff, also Overwatch on Steam. So much to talk about. And some emails and stuff. So stick around, and we'll be right back.
I got like this little hole where things like gather. I got to go digging.
Yeah, you got to get that gold, man. Got to get that gold. All right, let me
blow it out.
Resume everything. And we're back, everybody. Welcome back to the program. Bo was just describing his secret gold.
Oh, I thought you
reserves.
Okay. That was going to be a money return to the show.
It's all good. Hey, we're going to talk about more stuff. In fact, there's a bit more to do. But before we do talk about these bits of news, we have what we call Dear Martha. And then sometimes it's not what you expect it to be.
Martha's back.
Yeah, Martha's back.
Weeks.
Last week was a Martha free zone, and that was not fun. So we're glad to have Martha back. Don't know what she's doing this week. So, John, anything special?
Today, Martha is going to be transitioning us into our news segment by reading, we're about to talk about Overwatch being on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I might read, people can't do general reviews yet on Steam because the game hasn't launched there, but curators on Steam are able to review the game. So I thought I might read a few samples of people welcoming Overwatch to Steam.
Oh boy, that makes me nervous. All right, here it is. Let's start it up.
My dearest Martha, I present to you now a list of curator reviews for the Steam release of Overwatch 2. Metacritic says, Metascore, 91 out of 100. User score, 64 out of 100. Anime Titties Connoisseur says, not recommended. Repetitive shooter that became successful due to its Rule 34 content. Developers continue to remove sexy content since its original release in 2016. Turned free-to-play to milk more money through bad practices.
Wow.
Shitlisting service says, an act of absolute desperation crawling to Steam. Mishandled train wreck, busted pile of trash. A blatant scam. All of these describe Overwatch 2 perfectly.
Wow.
Massive amounts of politics injected into the game.
Great. I'm glad that guy is curator status. Great.
There's no
Wonderful.
politics in that game. What the hell?
Horny Hentai Festival says, recommended. Kawaii Shooter. Meet Diva and say hello to her on stream.
Yeah. Okay.
Bowsette's Castle says, recommended. Blizzard finally squeezes its way onto Steam with the free-to-play squad shooter. The first of more games to come. Launches August 10th, just in time for Invasion, the very first PvE missions, and has achievements.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay. That one's legit.
well-
Keep going.
Yeah, that one's informative.
Yeah.
Crack Smoking Time says, not recommended. The first game was held up entirely by people making unimaginable amounts of porn of the characters. The second game was killed so hard by Blizzard they had to put it on Steam to get some players back.
It's like fan fiction, y'all.
Weird.
And we'll just do this one. This will end it. Runner Streams says, why this empty, worthless free play here? Let's Diablo or World of Warcraft.
Wow. Any sign off?
Yours in this life
Yeah,
and the next.
Yeah.
The unbiased opinions of the Steam curator list.
I don't know why I expected it to be a lot more like serious straight takes, and instead, I guess I don't know. I didn't know that the curator system in Steam went as weird as that, or as diverse as that.
The only
I
curator
think-
I know is Commander Shepard.
Yeah, he's a good one. He approves of stuff.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, my name's Commander Shepard, and I approve this video game. That's all he writes on every single game he
Yeah,
has to.
which I kind of like. There's a Game Pass one I follow that just tells you whether the thing's on Game Pass or not, or if it's coming.
Well, in the first one, Metacritic just gives you the Metacritic score.
Right.
There are some that are informational. You know, there's one, like there's a lot that get tagged as this is just informative.
Right.
But
Well, I like that they do it through the lens of what their specialization is, right? Like an anime titties connoisseur is just there to rank the titties, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like I have a space game one that I follow, and they always will make recommendations of new cool games set in space, be they strategy or building games or whatever they are, and it's helpful. It's like really helpful. It's like, oh, I kind of think I align with what these guys like, so I like to hear their things, but I didn't know I could follow somebody that was just about the boobs in a game. I didn't know that was a thing. Steam's weird.
I
man.
got to one. I think anybody can be a curator. This one is called School Equals Cool. Prior to reviewing Overwatch, they reviewed Sex Coach Hot Yoga.
Wow.
And their review for Sex Coach Hot Yoga was they should add your mom to this game because she has intercourse so much and probably would be good at coaching.
What?
That was their review for the game. So this is their review for Overwatch 2. They said, oh geez, this game seems real cool. I love the zany and wacky cast of characters they've got here. I sure do hope that a story mode comes out for this game, maybe even with skill trees.
Wow. Okay.
Wow, he's not really. He or she's not really in the know about what's going on with this game, right?
No, I'm thinking not. Also, do not look up Sex Coach Hot Yoga. You might regret what you see. Like I do right now. All right, moving on.
Anime
Let's see.
Titties John.
Yep, John Titties is his hot new account. Check it out today.
I'm workshopping his name. But
Yeah.
I still think Long John Con.
Long Con John. Yeah, Long Con John is really good. That's a strong one. Let's get to some other news real quick. Overwatch 2 coming to Steam. Hey, we talked about this now, and they said more will be coming, and they tried to spin it as if this isn't. It is a little bit of a move of desperation, in my estimation. They've admitted to lower engagement. The game has dropped players, and they've lost some of their steam, so to speak. So they're trying to gain some of that back by going to Steam, and this all felt like it was inevitable anyway with this buyout coming up, but this is sooner than I thought. As far as predictions go about what other games might be next, I think Heroes of the Storm, StarCraft 2, and Blizzard Arcade are next. That's what I think. Those are no-brainers. Just
even without the sale, though, like Activision's all over Steam, right? Like it would still make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although they didn't for a while. You couldn't get Call of Duty on Steam for a few years there where they were putting it.
There was a period where they thought they could get away from Steam.
Yeah.
there was a and that ended.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's Activision Blizzard property, it's kind of crazy that it's not on Steam already or other marketplaces. So
right. Yeah. And
Bo, do you have a guess of what follows Overwatch 2 to Steam?
Yeah. I mean, Heroes would benefit, I think, from this. I think it would grow.
Yeah, I think it probably makes sense that the less desirables end up there because clearly there are people that are not in the know that would just see it on Steam, I guess. And like, I just have a hard time imagining someone who knows enough to play on Steam, not knowing what Blizzard's doing, but I guess that's possible. So,
there are some people that just like to stay on one launcher, though. That's like a big thing for a lot
I
of
don't
players.
think Heroes gets it, though. I think Overwatch actually has sales potential. I don't think. I don't know. I'd have to know what the Heroes sales figures are, but my sense is like that game's gone. If anything, they should throw
Don't take mine. I'll die on this hill. Diablo 4 is the second game that comes.
Second game.
Wow. Second game.
Good
I
Lord.
just have a hard time picturing Blizzard giving away 30%, but I guess they're giving 30% to PlayStation and Xbox, so why not Steam?
Yeah. You go where the eyeballs are, so... honestly, this took longer than I expected it to. It just seems like they could have done this a long time ago. They really wanted Battle.net to become the next big giant. I think they wanted to expand on it, add new games to it, and I think they had bigger eyeballs for that plan than they were able to achieve. But
I mean, just Steam really is a dominant powerhouse. Like, you're cutting off your own foot despite your testicles.
Yep, that's it.
What is the saying? Whatever the saying is.
It's cutting off your feet despite your... Wait, that's not a phrase. Hold on. Cutting off your nose despite your face.
Despite your face.
Oh, that was the problem.
Yeah,
Right.
not your feet despite your testicles, it turns out.
Well, look at these testicles. Better cut off them feet.
Despite them. Anyway.
But
do you think... But, okay, let's hear why Diablo 4 feels too soon. I don't know why I feel like that's the wrong call.
I mean, why would they put something on there? It's not. It seems like they'd spend more money putting it on Steam than they'd actually make it sale.
Maybe. I mean,
maybe. Like, I'm kind of joking a little bit, but I don't know. Yeah, like it seems like Overwatch still has potential to make money. Is why I assume that's a good choice, but not.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
What about StarCraft?
I think all the games will get there eventually. I just don't think it'll be the
Yeah,
second
it just
game.
seems like you should just put all the games on there. Maybe this is a trial run. Maybe they just put Overwatch 2 there, see how it goes.
Yeah, and they don't have to do anything too quickly.
It couldn't go worse. Let's throw it up there and see how it goes.
Yeah. There are also big layoffs in the AWL, the online or the Overwatch League's esports division at Blizzard.
Yeah.
So the future of that's questionable.
So, yeah, it feels like they're probably going to be still a competitive league, but that's definitely getting downscaled too.
Yeah.
I don't think Overwatch is generating the sales, especially after the announcement of no PvE content. Like, I just think there's not a lot of goodwill right now. I don't know what the scene is like, if any. So I feel like not a lot of people are playing this game.
And we're not mentioning Warcraft, but I could see Warcraft going over there. World of Warcraft, that is.
World of Warcraft.
Why not? Because it just opens their own launcher anyway. It's not like it's they don't really have to do much. It just has a presence there, and for enough.
I think World of Warcraft makes sense for it.
They have a free-to-play offering, do they, or no?
No. Well, they have first. I mean, they have the typical first.
It's sub only though. There's no
month or it's always sub.
If they did a Final Fantasy thing, if they had some free-to-play percentage, probably WoW is due for doing that at some point. I gotta think.
Yeah, this BlizzCon will be
Have a
interesting.
free-to-play version.
There's rumors of that. There's rumors of that, but there's always been rumors of that, so I don't know how serious I should take it. But there's also those rumors of a StarCraft project, maybe 3. StarCraft 3 being announced this year. Like, there's a lot of potential for some of that, but I think I'm with John. All of this ends up over there, especially in light of the ABK acquisition, because why not?
if they're gonna put it on Xbox and PlayStation, they might as well put it on Steam too.
Yeah, just put it
I'll
over
tell
there.
you what's getting announced at BlizzCon.
Hmm.
Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Holy shit! And they'll put in those
Think so?
cutscenes, and they'll what else will they do that they didn't? They
I'm
promised?
just telling you, it's gonna happen. If you want me to explain my answer, I will with facts and logic. But I'm just telling you that when it happens, you can all come back to the July 20th episode of Core and go, "My God, John called it."
You really think that they might do that? That they will do that?
I not only think it, I would consider it a 95% probability.
But not like a remaster, right? Like you just mean like a patch to address issues. Like
I would
even a
hope that
DLC.
it was a free patch. Yeah.
It better be.
a free patch, or maybe even not a free patch. Maybe like a
Like, if you own the game, you get it. If you don't own the game, you get a chance to buy it again after you refunded it.
That's what I did. So I'd have to. Yeah,
That's what I did. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this. This is where my logic comes from. It is not just opinion. We had it in the show notes a long while back. There was a survey, you know, those anonymous surveys that you're not supposed to talk about when you get one.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes people put what those surveys are online, even though they're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And Blizzard spent an entire survey that went out to people wanting to know if they would be interested in them making Warcraft 3 Reforged right.
Yeah.
And include all the features they said were going to be in there that they didn't end up doing and what features would be important. Like, it was a entire survey not long ago dedicated to Warcraft 3 Reforged. I think it's
Really?
happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? We'll know this fall, and we'll come back to it, and
Yeah.
we'll make that decision. Let's not forget how Chris Metzen sounded in Warcraft 3 when he came out of his hut. Listen to this.
What kind of nightmare was that?
I've had those. I've had those. That's very relatable.
Oh, he played Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Yeah. What the hell was
the same
that, he
review
says?
as me.
It wasn't that bad. I mean,
It was that bad.
pretty bad.
It was 100% that bad.
It's pretty bad.
I have games I still own that were not that bad. I refunded this so hard. I even lost a mount in WoW that I actually thought was okay that I got for pre-ordering the game. And I was like, you know what? Screw that mount. I don't need that mount.
Oh, they revoked
I
your
could- I'm sure they
prize?
did. I don't know. I didn't actually check, but I would imagine they did. It was supposed to be a perk for getting the game.
Yeah, it just seems scuffed to take.
I would imagine it's gone. They should have just given it to everybody as a apology.
Oh, they
anyway.
absolutely should have. Maybe they will.
That
Maybe
was
that'll
our
be
game of show that year.
Yeah, it was
Like,
awesome.
Do you guys remember we all went up and played that game?
Yes.
We played Strathholm together, and we were all like, "This is the best thing we've played here."
It was so good. And we played that Strathholm thing with these new fancy redone cinematics and the story tweaks and all that. And it looked and played like I was so excited. That was easily my favorite thing of the year. It was amazing. And then what a turd. They didn't include anything. I played a better game. I played a better demo there than they released for 50 bucks.
Yes, because that Strathholm stuff that we played wasn't in the game.
That was embarrassing.
Like, we played a complete version of that section of the game that is not in the game. Granted,
Yeah.
because it would have stood out, but like,
Yeah, it would have.
It was so bad.
That was supposed to be the treatment of the entire game. The whole game was supposed to receive this kind of level of treatment, and it didn't. It was. It is one of the most egregious things, not just Blizzard, anybody with a prestige product has ever done. It's embarrassing.
Well, and then not only is it
Ugh.
really is that bad, but then on top of it, they George Lucased the whole thing and went over the top of the original, and you can't even play the original version.
Yeah.
Because normally I'd say, like, hey, you know what, guys, cut them some slack. They didn't put out a good product, but you still got Warcraft 3. Because people always get in the, like, oh, they're ruining my childhood. And I hate that argument. Your childhood's still there. It's fine. But in this case, they actually did, because they removed your ability to play the original Warcraft 3.
Yep.
And this is what you've got now.
Yep, that's all you
I can
got.
see them trying to make good on it because D2R was well received and well done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree.
That game's great.
You know what? Put those guys, put Vicarious Visions on it. They did that. They did the Tony Hawk remake. Those guys know what they're doing. Put them on it. Oh, and the other day I fired up the GBA version of Tony Hawk 2. I forgot how cool that portable game was. And that was them. Vicarious Visions was doing that all the way back in 03 or whatever. Anyway, yeah, okay, so now I'm actually coming around, John, with Bo. What Bo just said I think is impossible. They want to make good on that thing. I hope. If they did, they would go a long way with me. That would actually make me kind of happy.
It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Like, it certainly helps.
Because I would play that.
Expecting to hear that, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd play that campaign right now if it was good. If it was the way they promised it. Anyway, what else? There's also this. Bluey's getting a video game. That's if anyone out there has watched Bluey before. If you got little kids, little grandkids, whatever it is you got, little kids. Even if you don't have little kids, adults should watch it. Bandit and Chili are my favorite parents on television. It's an amazing little show. It's I watched an episode the other day. It made me cry, made me tear up. A grown ass man.
Is that the one about the sister coming to visit?
That's the one called Onesie.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rough.
Me too.
Yeah.
it was rough stuff.
That's a brand new one too. They just dropped it. They keep adding new ones, although I think it's on pause because of something to do with the strike. Even though it's not American Guild stuff, it's something tied to that, so they're not making new ones until the strike's over. But anyway, that show's amazing. I'm sure the game will be way more geared to kids, but I would love it if it retained its amazing vibe. It's just so good.
Yeah.
So good.
I put this news story in here because I know how much you love Bluey. You recommended it. It is very popular with our entire family here. I adore Bluey.
Yeah, once you're in, and you'll never not love it. It's special, you know.
Genuinely a very good show.
Yeah.
Not just kid show. Like, there are some shockingly adult moments in there, and
yeah, and we don't mean like dirty. We mean like adult, like only an adults can understand why Bandit said what he said, or why Chili got mad at Bandit, or why, you know, he works he's a paleontologist or an archaeologist. He digs up bones. He's a freaking blue healer. That's what they do. They dig up bones. He's an archaeologist. His wife, Chili, is the kind of breed in real life that does dog sniffers at airports. And she's in charge of security at the airport where they live in Australia. Like, they're not even subtle about some of these references, and it's just got a purity to it and a realistic take to it. It's just hard to describe. I love Bluey so much. Just a wonderful thing.
I liked the return of the Unicorse.
Oh yeah, the Unicorse was great. First one and the return. I was worried it was going to be a bad sequel. Like, oh, don't milk that, because that was so perfect, and it was just as good. Just so good.
They went a different direction with the Unicorse wanting to go on a date with their mom.
Yep.
That was so good.
It was really
and
good.
then it has a really weird, like, kind of meta ending that literally shows the show being animated. Like, what kind of kid show is like, hey, here's how the show's animated? Like, that's crazy. It's so good.
It was a story about perspective and using your mind to kind of pull it out a little bit and look at things for what they really are. And they literally went to the extent of saying, you're an animated character on a screen with the, just doing all the rigs and stuff, and it's so good. Anyway, enough about that. Merger update. Microsoft and ABK thing is going to happen. Here's the deal. They were supposed to, on the 18th, sign the deal, and if they didn't, as Bo and I talked about last week, they were going to have to pay a breakup fee for not being ready yet. Neither company wanted that, so that was just really a legal hurdle, and they pushed this to the end of August 28th or 9th, I think, to just get it all done. Still a tight timeline, but they're going to get it all done. The FTC appeal is going to happen on the 3rd. That will fail. That will die and not work. Nobody thinks it will. So I don't think anyone's worried about that. The real main thing, or the real booger here, is they're trying to get the UK to sign off on it. If they don't, they now have provisions that say we will break up some of this stuff in the UK to satisfy them, which is a pain in the ass for them. It means segmenting the company in weird ways, only internationally, but not in other markets. So it's or only in the UK rather. So it's all very weird, but it happens with companies sometimes. Anyway, it's looking like this is all done by the end of August. Signed, finished. They own them. So there's that. And then finally,
how long have we been tracking this? Like a year now?
2 almost. Yeah.
Jeez.
It's been a bit.
Crazy.
It's been a bit. A lot of people think it's too, like I've had people say, this seems too fast. I'm like, I've been working on this for a long time. So this Diablo 4 stuff, can we talk about this real quick? We want to do it from our angle, though, because everybody everywhere has got opinions about the patch itself, about the new season, about the nerfs. They're all freaking out, and everyone's having a hard time. We could just reiterate all that, or we could go from this angle, which is this. John saw a tweet from Ghostcrawler, Greg Street, today. All right.
Bo saw it because I saw Bo retweeting it.
Oh, okay.
That's the only reason I even saw it.
So
Bo's bringing this to the table.
Greg, both a friend of the show and a listener. So, Greg, we're about to talk about your
Greg.
tweet.
I'm about to not be your favorite host on the show.
Yeah, I hope you're doing good. Here's what he says. Balancing game systems is brutally difficult. I find a lot of the gaming media's clickbait around Diablo 4, every build destroyed, players outraged, everything effing nerfed, to be a little hyperbolic. I know y'all need clicks, but can't you just try and be a bit nuanced with your analysis? Was his initial tweet.
Language.
So I saw it and agreed with it. I think it is hyperbolic, and I think Bo's talked about this before. Anything Blizzard related, people want to take it and immediately make it dirty laundry and make clicks on YouTube. And
well, the trains arrived on time. This is about the time I'd expect a new Blizzard game to start getting shit on.
Yeah, it is time, right? The honeymoon's over with this particular
time.
game.
Honeymoon's over. Now we're like, it's time to cut content and tell us why this Blizzard sucks.
But John over here actually thinks that Greg is up in the night on this one, and I want to hear why. Why do you think that?
Yeah, I think we'll give a little hug before we give a little slap. I think Greg is a great person. I've met him. He's extremely nice. I usually find his views very interesting and informative. I think, as the kids would say, this is a rare L take from Ghostcrawler. For one, he gives 3 examples, and only 2 of them are actually even remotely hyperbolic. Players' outrage is just true. Like, it's true of games that are literally popular, positive games. There's still going to be players' outrage. Like, that's not a hyperbolic statement. Like, that's true. And it's especially true right now with Diablo. We're not seeing the reaction we're seeing. We're not seeing them doing emergency campfires to talk about the state of the game, possibly addressing patch issues because players are all happy. Like, that's not a hyperbolic title. But furthermore, I think most of these are addressing titles of videos or news articles. And I mean, Greg, you've been in this business long enough. You know that titles do not make the content. Like, this reads to me like somebody going, Lord of the Rings, come on, guys. It's really about the one ring. Why you got the plural rings on the cover? It's really only about the one. Can we get a little nuance here? Like, it's the title. It is the thing to get you to click. I guarantee you that half the creators, if they're a big mainstream one, probably didn't even pick their own titles. It was probably picked by whoever edits or whoever posts it, because we know that it usually is not by the same person who either writes the story or creates the video for a lot of those big people. But furthermore, I don't think either of these are so insanely crazy hyperbolic that it's bad. Like, I think that these are fine. Where the issue is are these still hyperbolic in the article, or is there nuance in the article? Because, like, that's what matters. And if you go and you click these and you watch the videos and you try and find out what's going on, which I did, because I was like, well, why? I was kind of excited for the new season. I was trying to get myself there. Why is everybody mad all of a sudden? The nuance exists. It is absolutely in there in the article. So I think that most reasonable people see every build destroyed, everything effing nerfed, and they don't go, you know what? I don't need to know anything else. Blizzard has nerfed literally everything in this video game. I think everybody, most everybody, is smart enough to know that that is not a true statement. And if they want to know more, click, go in, and find out. And I think that the nuance does more often than not exist there. And to Bo's point, like,
The curator didn't even know campaign mode was canceled.
Like,
Overwatch.
trains coming in on the station, you know, to Bo's comment, that implies that nothing happened. Blizzard just put out a product, left it alone, and people went from happy to mad for no reason. That's not true.
Yeah.
Like, Blizzard made changes. This outrage isn't because it's now been out for X number of months. There's a reason behind it. Whether or not you agree with it, whether or not you feel it's as big a deal as people are making it, it's ruining the fun for some players. And it's not just some hyperbolic, like, oh, it's time to get mad at Blizzard. Like, sure, you're going to try and maximize your views and clicks on content. You're stupid if you're not. But at the same time, they didn't just decide arbitrarily, you know what, July 19th, that's the date we go hard on Blizzard. Blizzard did something. They messed it up. We're going to see if they fix it. But if you, whether it's hard or not to balance a game, if I'm playing the game, if I'm excited about the new season and Blizzard craps up the game right before and makes me lose all interest in it, that's my take as a consumer. It's not my job. I've said this before. It's not my job to understand why the thing happened. It's my job to decide whether or not I enjoy the product and want to engage with the product. That's it. That's what my job is.
Fair.
And if Blizzard is not meeting those expectations for me at the consumer level, then yeah, I have a right to be disappointed. Not ever like nasty or negative towards individuals, but you have every right to be upset. And I think it's insulting to me to trivialize it as, oh, it's just people getting mad like they always do. No, they did something. They didn't come out of nowhere.
I feel like I'm getting lectured.
No, go, Bo. Give us the rebuttal. Rebuttal, Bo. I want to hear it.
I don't have a rebuttal other than I'm exhausted from it. Like, you know, like it's like, yeah, you might not be a fan. Like, just say you don't like playing Diablo, or you're not a fan of how they've changed the game, but the outrage, the hyperbole comes from it mattering. Like it actually doesn't matter that, like, a lot of the changes are not like that severe or consequential to the game that like you need this level of response to it, right? I think, you know, it's like, because it one thing begets another. It's, you know, oh, they made bad changes. This is going to make for a poor experience. And now the company's going down the drain, and you know the next thing down the chain, this game will fail, blah blah blah. Like it's hyperbolic. I mean, it just is. Like, you can still, I think you can reason. I think that what he's saying is, can we get nuanced analysis? I mean, one, a lot of the creators and media articles haven't played the patch in its entirety yet to provide a review. This is just a reaction to the notes,
right?
And then, you know, secondly, what are the expectations around this game, right? It's a game that people play the campaign and then they're done. And then there's a small set that are going to play this game daily. Like, I don't know. They might be unhappy with what's there, but it's like not the end of the world. You know, like it still plays pretty much the same. I've had a few hours with the patch so far. It feels all right. I don't have a problem with anything. And, you know, I would say like it's probably good for them to decrease the power levels of things down because they haven't hit their targets on where they want the game to be at. Like, it's pretty much understood that this game is not going to be in a good place until the first X-Pack comes out, if they plan on supporting it for a while. So,
well, do you remember back when who was the guy that who fixed Diablo? They hired him to come in, and he did 2.0 and was
Josh
Mascara. That's right. And he's over at Bonfire.
Mascara,
whatever it is.
Say it however you want. I don't care.
He when he came, or when he was there, I remember this very specific interview, and it may have even been like his talk at GDC or something. But he said, we were falling over each other trying to balance everything. And instead, we just realized, why are we doing that? Let's just, instead of nerfing, if we feel like there's a real imbalance, we buff. And if we have another imbalance, we buff the other one. And we just buff. Because who cares? Just buff it and also buff the world to match it. But just, you don't need, in Diablo, in that fantasy and an action RPG, you don't need, I know there's PvP elements in this game, but you don't, and there were in the old one, but you don't need to match that stuff so well. I don't know where that philosophy went, because I
would say probably what they're trying to avoid this one is the 5 quadrillion damage. Diablo 3, Reaper of Damage. You know, like, I think they're trying not to make Reaper of Damage again, where you're hitting for 14,000 bajillion, because that's the byproduct of just adding. It's actually probably, it was probably good for a little while, but it got the game to a really weird place, and they seem to want to control that. They've nerfed vulnerability a lot, and they're bringing down the damage numbers, which I agree. I think they should eliminate multiplicative damage buffs altogether for the most part.
Yeah.
I think that's even a problem in the game currently, except for we've all become obsessed with critical strike, and I think critical strike should probably still be a multiplier, but there should be very few other multipliers in the game. But they're still rampant in the game.
And there's items that'll give you like permanent critical strikes if you do it right. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's still a lot they need to fix. Resistance doesn't work, you know, and they said they weren't going to be able to fix that till season 2. Like, the fact that this patch is a disappointment is really, like, again, I don't know, just it's not like they're still fixing things long term. I don't know. I think it's fair to have feedback and to criticize. I don't love everything that's going on with the game right now either, but you know, I don't really read the articles so much as I do second screen it up on YouTube. I hear some of the reaction seems to be a little bit extreme in my opinion, you know, and I think there's a race to there is a race to cut content for money. I mean, these people are making 5-6 figures on videos that get lots of views.
Yeah.
And they are clickbaity titles intended to do that, and they are if it's not content being originally made, it's like react content to stuff that is salacious. But then you watch the video, and 50% of the time it's not even, if you were to read the title and take the meaning, it's actually incorrect because the reactor is reacting differently to what is actually being said. But they're going to title the content on the base content because of the enticement that's going to create for someone to click and watch a video.
Well, and the other problem is what Greg is, I don't want to speak for Greg, but I think what Greg's criticism is also about, we have a culture now where influencers are immediately doing reaction content, and that reaction content is getting all the eyes and views, and actual gaming press has to really work hard to compete with that. So they have to do tactics that are maybe a little less than savory.
I think usually they're getting their information from those from the Twitch, YouTube React sphere, anyway.
Right? Because then their minds are like, oh, that guy talks to 300 million people. That's clearly an indicator.
Well, that article's got to go through an editor.
Yeah,
YouTuber just presses publish, or he's already saying it live on Twitch. You're 100% behind. It's not everyone watches YouTube, so the media sites are still relevant. But these it's just tough. I don't think there's anything you can do about it. I believe in freedom of speech, and people should be able to react however they want. It's their content. It's not But it's tough when you're trying to. I could just see it being really frustrating to be on the dev side of things and just having just having this large bias against you that you constantly have to work towards. A lot of these changes, we don't really know the reason why they're being made. They could be to fulfill long-term plans.
Yeah, but I think so. That is the area that I'm sympathetic to, what Greg is saying, because I don't think he's 100% wrong.
Right.
I am sympathetic to hey, it's a hard job, and when you make a decision that feels right, and your answer is you've ruined the game, and everything is on fire, that's extreme to see. But I do think that the idea of, well, they're making a decision now so that the game can be better later, is fine later, but it is bad now.
Mm.
Like, I don't think it's been the constant with Diablo 4, and I kind of hate it. Like, this is where my like real anger about Diablo 4 comes, is that so many times when I have criticized the game, the answer has been, well, wait until the expansion, wait until the DLC. Oh, you don't like that the story didn't go quite far enough? Just wait. More's coming. More's coming. Oh, you think the patch is bad? Well, wait. It's to set up something better down. I'm sick of waiting. I want to play a good game now. I'm not playing Diablo 4. I don't think I'm going to play the first season because I don't think the game is good right now. Yes, I may change my mind and decide that it's good in a year or two when the expansion comes out. That's what happened with Diablo 3. I didn't think Diablo 3 was a great game at the time that it came out. By the time it was done, I loved Diablo 3. My opinion will shift as the game shifts, but right now, as somebody that wants to talk about the game, I had a good time with the campaign. I thought it was pretty good, a little light, and I think the in-game is absolute garbage. That's how I feel about Diablo 4.
Right.
And
Okay.
their job was to sell me on season 1 to buy into this seasonal Diablo, and I am not interested, even though I'm getting it for free and have perks to make it more engaging if I choose to cash it in right now. And even then, I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to do this again because it's not that good.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's fair feedback. I mean, everything you said, I don't have an issue with it at all.
Although I have heard one little side note, because I did make a comment about this online and someone said this. I have not checked, so blame the person on Twitter who told me this. But apparently so we all bought, right, the more expensive get to play early edition, right?
Early access.
And that comes with some seasonal doohickeys like advantages and starts and stuff like that. Apparently, that is actually a token that you can choose to redeem or not. It does not have to be tied to the first season. And that's what I was told. If that's true, that's awesome. Like, that's a real cool thing.
It is true because I
I'm-
cashed mine in. There's a button you can click. And
Okay, well, that's awesome. Like, that's really cool that they didn't lock people in and say, no, you have to participate in the first season or it's wasted. Like, that's really neat because
You'll have to buy the subsequent battle pass if you want the premium stuff.
Right.
Right. But this first season, you get the battle pass with our early buy, though.
Like everyone gets a battle pass, whether you're free or premium.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So what you've bought is premium battle pass.
Oh, where you
season
skip
1,
stuff and
But the skips you can save.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was. I don't know. There was so much outrage today. I just was like, do I even want to go in there and look? And I didn't look. I didn't even bother.
I mean, it's just no one. It's not shocking when nerfs happen that people are upset about the game. I think there's presently some very big confusion going on, and this is Blizzard's fault about the marketing around the game.
Mm-hmm.
This is 2 games. One is a game where you sit down with 4 of your friends, play through a campaign, have sweet items, make sweet builds, and beat Lilith. The other part of the game is the game where you play every day for 8 hours a day, leveling things to 100, doing seasons, and that's like 5% of the player base, but an important 5% because that's who they're like. The fact that they have that relationship with that 5% is what sells it for everyone else. Like the busker, the busker's playing to the crowd that's in front of them, and then other people come along to check it out. That's the Diablo business model. If they were being honest in their marketing, that no, you're not supposed to get attached to your characters. You throw them out every 3 months and make new ones. And this is how you play an ARPG. If there's no marketing going out of their way to explain how, because this is true Path of Exile to the normal masses. I think it generated 1 billion in sales now. It's the fastest ever. There's no effort to say like you're thinking about an ARPG is wrong, to explain to them how to properly. They're not going to say that. They're going to scare away people. And this is a globally, a publicly traded company selling globally. They're not going to, tap the aquarium. They're not going to shake away the customers. So they have this game that is just for the majority of people, play the campaign, have a good time with your friends. Goodbye. But what happens is like, because they've done these changes, because this is the conversation happening about balance, that conversation spreads to those people that they're not really going to play endgame all that much, but now it's going to like tarnish the reputation of the Diablo game and all that. Like and I'm saying it's Blizzard's fault. I think that you should be marketing the game properly. I don't think they're marketing the game correctly. And then if you're to talk about, I think John's criticisms are fair. The end game, I think, like I agree with everything you said, but there's just this effect that happens when all of your YouTube thumbnails and all of your articles you're seeing about the game are negative, when in fact the game is actually a success and well executed and well implemented, but needs more work for that high. You know what I mean? Like it's like imagine reading basketball news, but the basketball news only really concerns what's going on with Michael Jordan and not what people care about, right? Like it's for the, I don't know. There's this weird disconnect I find with the Diablo conversation. I watch the content and I'm like, you guys aren't even playing the game like this. Like, what do you even care if it's poorly balanced? You're not even that interested in the game.
Well, we know where they care. Their livelihood depends on them.
Well, it makes for interesting. Like again, I said it last week, Christmas, and it's like nerds. We like to tear things apart. So it doesn't matter whether we're playing it or not. It's more, you get the Transformer. You're not going to play Transformers. You're gonna be like, how's this thing made, and rip it apart and figure out. And we like to do that when it comes to game balance and game design. And we like to do that with Blizzard because they actually put a lot of effort into their balance and design. So it's prime material for taking things apart and seeing how it works. It just has this
but
effect,
I also think I think there's some truth to that, but I also I don't, because I think that yes, I'm sure there are people talking about it because they feel obligated to talk about it because this is how they make their money. But I think a lot of people, myself included, are talking about it because they care about the game. Go back and listen to the episodes of Core. Don't, it's a very long podcast. But if you want to put
I'm not doing that.
the truth to my words.
I can't even listen to episode 1 today.
go back and listen. When I started talking about my experiences, having beaten it and having spent some time with it, I don't remember if it was with Bo or Scott, but there was even a little aside where I said, there's some other stuff, but I don't know. I don't want to be too negative on the game. I just won't talk about it, more or less. I deliberately set aside some criticism because, and I regret this decision because it didn't feel very honest, but I still stand by the things I said about the game, but I left some stuff on the floor because in my head, I wanted this game to reflect my talking about the game to reflect how I felt about it, which was I have zero regrets buying this game, playing through the campaign, and having a good time with the campaign.
Right.
Like no buyer's remorse at all with that. I think that experience was really good. So like what Bo said, that first game that it is, I think that's a pretty great game. And I had a great time with it. I could have been a little longer, but beyond that, I think it was fine. Beyond that, the second game is a game I want to like because that second game in Diablo 3, I like very much. And I think that the reason I get frustrated about it, where the passion comes from, and maybe with passion a little hyperbole, is the fact that you look at it and you go, guys, you we're so close with Diablo 3. How did we backstep this much to Diablo 4? Like, and you hear them talk about the new season, and every single one of us, when we heard what they were planning with the new season, when we heard ridiculously overpowered builds, we said that was the key thing that got us excited about it.
Yeah.
And then you go, well, they nerfed everything. Like, of course we're going to feel deflated and upset about it. Like, we were literally most excited about the opposite of this. And I don't need to play it to know. And that's the thing that you always see defenders come out and say, well, did you play it? Have you played the patch? Have you played it? I don't need to get stabbed to read the patch notes of metal enters your body violently and go, you know what? I don't think I want that. I think I'm probably good. You know what? I'm not going to gamble on the fact that I'm Superman and impervious to knives. Getting stabbed sounds bad. I don't have to play this patch. If the patch notes are so bad that I go, well, I don't want to play that game, then they did a bad job.
Well, remember,
it's that simple.
But remember this. So I agree with you on Diablo 3's endgame was great, but it wasn't for a long time. It took them a year and a half to almost 2 years to fix it. And so I hope they don't take 2.5 years to fix it here or 2 years to fix it here. But it was the same problem then, right? Like, it wasn't what we wanted as an end game mechanic. We didn't even have this adventure mode thing. All we had was freaking do the story over and over. And
had no Paragon levels.
No Paragon, all that stuff
gearing
was gone.
The gear and itemization was all over the place.
Yeah, it was messed up. Like, they were in a way worse place after you ran that campaign then than I think they're in a worse place then than they are now. But
Yeah,
I still
agree with that.
I still think they should have learned some of those lessons about what to hit the ground running with. Maybe that's impossible to do. Maybe these big games are too big no matter.
New team. It's not like it's all the exact same team, big company. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
And they had some
different
changeover.
priorities. I feel like it's a pretty solid release comparatively.
Yeah.
I mean, we're focusing on one thing. There's a number of articulation points in this debate as well, like nerfing. I used to say like nerfing items. Well, they're adding 32 new gems and a couple of new items and stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe that balances things out. That's why I'm like, you have to play that to find out, because maybe there are some really broken builds that we can have fun with these gems.
Mm-hmm.
But there are
right,
issues
but that's
like
on the seasonal realm, not on the eternal realm.
Well,
right.
No one should be wanted. The Eternal Realm is like, it's nonsense. Like, it's not Diablo. Like, I'm sorry to say, but this has been true since they did seasons of Diablo 3. This is not where the bread is buttered, and that's been true forever. It's there if you want to use it, but it's not where the love's going to go. And that's what I mean. It's on Blizzard. They should just be explaining this pretty clearly. Like, Eternal Realm is a for fun place. Like, you go there if you want. Don't go attached to your characters. You should be rolling new ones every 3 months. That's how we roll here.
Yeah.
But the issue is there's a bunch of points of articulation. There's the uber rares, which are also poorly explained. Their rationale for the uber rare drops. I have a feeling they're copying the Marvel Snap model, but not explaining that that's why they're doing it. You always need
I think the uber rares, just to talk about it real quick, is the most indicative element in this game that says they do not have their finger on the pulse of what players care about.
Yeah, no,
think
they don't.
They're
not trying to make them players happy.
You want to know where I will find faith in Diablo 4 again? Is the day they ditch the idiocy that is uber rares. When that is gone, I will know they are listening to players again.
When microtransactions are gone, we'll play games again. When we stop having energy in games, like to me, this is a part of a marketing strategy. They're going to add, because Snap's been doing this for a while now to great success. They've got their Series 5 cards. They're like practically impossible to get. The Uber Rares strike me as a similar system. I don't see them changing it too much, to be honest. But they'll probably add new ones and then demote other ones to create friction and churn in the game so that things are constantly changing. But sure. But my point is not to argue everything. I'm just saying there is a bunch of items of contention, not just one, that are sort of amalgamating into this. The other is the XP nerf. So it's now, they want it to take a long time to get to 100. They don't. The attitude about endgame shouldn't be, I'm going to get to 100 and then now I'm at endgame. 100 is like, I don't think they're intending for many people to hit 100. 100 I think is supposed to be like a high accomplishment based on what I'm seeing. How they're nerfing, but a lot of people are mad that it's going to take them even longer to level up now. So that's happening too. So there's like a number of things that people dislike that have hit because they've changed so much that is perceived as negative towards the player all at once, that it's creating these like knee-jerk reaction content to say it's bad, but like the game's not balanced yet in where they intend it to be. I think I think when the game truly becomes a dead game is when we'll see things done that are just only in the player's favor, which is kind of what Reapers of Souls was to Diablo 3's original launch. People were upset with the auction house and all that kind of stuff. I think they're gonna follow their business plan for at least a year, and then we'll probably start seeing them nudge things in the player's direction. But it's just down to his tweet is that the nuanced take, which we are having right now, is not present in media or in the React sphere generally, and I agree. Like it's annoying how like how convinced some of these folks are that they're right and they're wise and that they know what's going on, and then just like it's really not the case. But it's unfortunate because that's like it's the strongest marketing are these React influencers. They kind of they're holding everything by the nuts, and they're very poorly qualified to be doing what they're doing.
Devs hate it. They won't say it out loud, but some will, but they hate that.
Yeah.
Hate it because they can't. What are you supposed to do? Like there's a lot of reasons why I like indie games, but one of them is those guys kind of get to skirt all that. You know, they don't have to be.
A lot of games are like that, right? Like, Star Trek Online, for example.
Well, it's not as much of game as committee. I mean, Bo just said it, and I think it's gross. Like, it is their development around Diablo 4 is marketing. Like, it goes hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And an indie game isn't worrying about their design philosophy and how that's going to line up with the marketing of the video game. Yeah. And I imagine it would be frustrating to be a dev and look at your game and go, well, you know what? There's some obvious flaws with this, and be told by higher ups, no, this is what we're doing. We've heard that. We've heard those stories out of World of Warcraft and stuff like that. Times that devs said, hey, we don't think this is the best idea for players. And they said, oh, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I guess there's a certain point where, like, if we're that upset about things, because this is gaming, right? Like, if this was dinner and someone brought me dinner that they made it for me, or even if I paid for it, and like I got so like I felt like I had to make videos and they explain it for hours and hours, I might as well just cook my own food. Like, at a certain point, if things are that bad, like, you should just do it yourself. And it gets. I understand that we're consumers and that we have to like have a way to express ourselves, but it does get to a certain point where, at least for me, where I'm done hearing about it. Like, if you're really that upset about something, go do something about it. And that's a little bit what I find the gaming press when it comes to
Isn't making the video doing something about it?
I mean,
no, you would be making your own game at this point. You would be doing something.
I can't make Diablo, Bo.
Well,
not with that attitude.
I don't work for Blizzard Entertainment. I don't have rights to that IP. And it turns out an entire team of lots of people make that video game.
But you got
a weekend. 1,000 Steps starts with the first one. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight. But at a certain, like, this is just me and how I was raised. I was raised to shut up, like, and not complain when people do good things for you or people are making efforts. At a certain point, you can look at a game and say, oh, it's improperly balanced. It's not great, but at a certain point, there comes a time where you're complaining so much, it's just time to shut up and to do something about it. But there's a whole industry of people that pay to have their biases confirmed because they want to hear it day in and day out. We've been online for like 20 years. It's been like 2 decades. Like, the game companies are the worst. They haven't balanced their games in 20 years. You know what I mean? It's just like, at some point, it's like, shut up, and like, either do something about it or stop being a whiny baby. And like, that's a lot of walks of life that, I mean, I'm a part of. People are like that. I don't know why the exception is gaming, why so many people feel it's like so mind-blowingly wise to be able to like just like pick apart a game and to be this hyperbolic about it. I wonder why, like, I identify with what Greg's saying. It was just like, oh my God, guys! Like,
there's a psychology around gaming that I don't understand either. That it doesn't match up with other stuff. Like, it's as close as I can think of. I mean, the closest thing I can think of is like politics or maybe film. But even that, I think film and TV
is pretty close, because I think part of it is that it's an eternally, like, I think the reason it feels like it's kind of a new thing in games to a degree is because we're not talking about video games in the sense of how it used to be. It's not a case of like Super Mario Brothers comes out and everybody's now up in arms because Mario, there's a weird glitch or something like that. Right. I found a weird glitch. How could they let this happen?
Warp pipe
when Mario came out, it was Mario. It's what you got. Yeah. And in rare exceptions, you would have second printings of cartridges and there would be changes on it and stuff like that. Those do exist, but in general, they weren't patched or updated. But now we've moved on to like live service games. And when you present it as a live service game, you're saying like, hey, you need to make a considerable investment of time and effort into this video game for an extended period of time, and it's going to be fluid and change. I think that tends to open up kind of to what you said, Scott, where it starts to fall more akin to politics of, well, if you don't like it, if you bitch and moan about it enough, maybe something will happen and it will change instead of it being just the way it is. And so I think in a weird sort of way, live service as a like state of video game has fostered this feeling of like, no, we get a say and we're going to have our say.
Yeah, it's weird. Obviously this comes up on the show once in a while and it's often around Blizzard, but it's an interesting
it's interesting that we do chat room too, because people are going to say this and I want to address it.
Yeah.
Tezzer is saying, am I arguing that critique is not useful on a show built around critiquing things? I'm not saying critique is not useful.
No, of course not.
I'm saying it's not useful up to a point.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if all the critiquing is 400 videos that are reaction videos, I'm sorry, that's not helpful to anybody.
Not all critique, first of all, is like even, right? Like it depends on the source, but also it just has diminishing returns. Is what I'm saying. Like you can provide a critique and then you're done. Yeah, it's over. Like if you know, John's saying like I don't enjoy the end game, I don't want to play it. Like great, that's an honest reaction. It's perfect. But John's also not going to cut 500 more videos tomorrow on his YouTube channel or write an article.
It's not going to be Core Daily tomorrow. Next week, we're not going to be back talking about this patch of Diablo. Although, I will say this, their big fireside chat thing is happening on Friday. There is a chance that if enough happens and it's big enough news, I don't know if it will be, it could be talked about again. But I agree with what Bo's saying. Like, this is when we're talking about it. This is our critique. This is our thoughts. Then we're on to the next thing.
If you think of like the gaming community and what we're doing and what we're spending time on, you know, like that's a good. I'm glad you brought that up, John. That just like that's the content funnel right there. Like they're gonna do a live stream, then there's a reaction. We've been following WoW for a long time. This comes up all the time with WoW, you know.
Yeah.
And I just think it just gets really kind of cringe when it's just like. Dead game, like over and over and over again, and that's where I feel like currently the temperature around Diablo 4 is, where people just can't say it's just too hard. It's too hard just to say like, yeah, it's not that fun. I'm not enjoying it that much, and you know, I'm not a fan of the nerfs, and I'm not a fan of this, but you know, whatever. I'm gonna spend my time on something positive. You know, like it's just a game. Like it's Diablo. It's not World of Warcraft's way more understandable any MMO than like Diablo. It's just a game. Play the campaign, you're done. You know. Yeah. Anyway.
By the way, I just did some fun math. Check this out. Because sometimes I have to account for the complexity of where we've taken video games. There's a reason we need patches, day one patches, nerfs, balance patches, all that stuff. It's because these games are crazy insane. Like they're just so complicated. If you took the original Diablo 1 and you put as many of those, if you could picture them as objects, put as many of those into Diablo 4 space as you could, it would be, hold on a second.
God, math.
107. Oh shit! I hope this is right. 170.
Oh no! Scott,
I think this is right. 100.
You started so confident.
I think it's 170,000 copies of Diablo 1 fits in a single install of Diablo 4.
Oh my god!
So I'm just saying, it's a complicated business, and then we complicate it. Not we, meaning us. The royal we complicate it by thinking that we need rapid fire first guy. Like this is the other thing people don't talk about. YouTubers, they, you know, it's sometimes it's a reaction, sometimes it's outrage, whatever. It's also a race. Who's going to get that outrage video about their patch on YouTube first, and how quickly is how fast is their work process to get that video up there, and how much, you know, bells and whistles do you want to have versus just get your phone out and do it. Like that's a rat race I don't want to be a part of. It's a mess. I like this format.
I think to play Diablo's advocate here, a little bit.
Well done.
I know what it's like
the primeval
to care very much about a product and be very passionate about it. I was not earning money off the clicks. I was not generating hate. I was not making a living off of it. but I know what it's like to care so much about a product that you want it to be good, and you see them making decisions you don't agree with, and the only thing you can do is talk into a microphone about it. I'm not saying that is everybody out there making these videos, but I do think it is some of them, and I think it is fair that everybody gets their say.
I made hours of videos about HGC. I'm still have a chip on my shoulder about Heroes.
I'm still pissed.
You fell into the copium trap, man. I saw the Mike Ybarra tweet.
Oh yeah, no, Mike Ybarra posted key art, presumably I thought for the new BlizzCon coming up, and it was all Heroes of the Storm heroes, and I was like, oh shit, we get new heroes.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, it's key art from 2014.
Yep.
What a troll.
That's pretty funny though. Why is he doing that? Why did he post that?
Troll. He's trolling people. Like, why would you? You're the CEO of Blizzard.
It's really weird. He had no commentary either. It's him putting up what looks like key art, being all. I was actually really annoyed by that.
I mean, that's why I interpret it that way. I mean, I take personal responsibility for it. He's allowed to tweet.
You're not the only one who felt that way. I still, we follow a lot of Heroes people on Twitter, and there were others that got real excited because that's a very Heroes-centric key art,
big
for
time.
sure.
Big time. Yeah, and it was
we're watching like a hawk for anyone to say.
But I didn't fall for it. No. I was like, nope. I've been burned too many times.
Not
Blizzard.
today, Blizzard. John
Believe it when I see it.
Let's do a test. Let's ask Phil Spencer. Phil.
Old Bill Spencer over there.
Bill Spencer.
Phil, where on your next public appearances, like marketing, not in court or something like that, where instead of Hexen, wear Heroes of the Storm shirt. Then we'll know you listen, but you don't have to publicly acknowledge that you do.
Damn.
Oh, that's
we'll
the
also
test.
know, and we'll also know that you're behind the Heroes of the Storm movement.
Well, man, now you've got two conditionals.
Yeah.
Now he's not going to wear it, and it's like, well, but does that mean he doesn't listen, or does that mean he doesn't believe?
It means both.
Heroes has a future.
If he listens, he knows how important Heroes of the Storm. If he's a fan, he knows how important
he doesn't listen
to the show. So
I wish he did.
The two go hand in hand, I feel.
Man, I look forward to Bill Spencer's future Heroes of the Storm shirt.
Yep. Maybe ask Bill Spencer if that's coming to Steam. That's how we'll find out if Steam's getting Heroes or not. I think you could have new life over there. I'm actually kind of.
I would be excited to see Heroes on Steam. Like I went with kind of as Bo would say, riding the hate train wave of saying Diablo 4. But like legitimately I would be excited to see Heroes on there because I think even just a few people giving it a shot again would be like, oh, you know what? This game's pretty good.
Yeah. This is back when, by the way, it's a little sound of when Blizzard didn't have to worry about this stuff. Check it out. Let's see if we can get some audio out of it.
The once mighty army of Azeroth lay among the blackened and charred remains of Stormwind Keep.
That's when you get the guy up the hall who barely can talk and doesn't have a good accent. Hey, come down here and record this for our... what was the name of that game? Warcraft 2. Let's do the intro. Let's get in here. And this is the intro to Tides of Darkness.
Those that escaped fled across the Great Sea. Azeroth. Rah.
Episode 376 of Core. Warcraft is dead. Just listen to that VO. My God.
It's pretty bad. Although, it was really fun to hear it. Play Retro did a retrospective on all things before WoW. So we talked about Orcs versus Humans, Tides of Darkness, all the way up through 3. And it was a really fun conversation, so people should check that out if they haven't heard that. Okay, man, that was a deep one. Let's go into some correspondence.
That's a good question.
All right, an email of sorts that we got from a listener. This is from Kevin Hall, and he says he wrote in his subject was John was in my dreams.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, guys.
He sent this to talk to the
You didn't
core.
Deserve this.
Mm-mm.
You didn't ask for it. You were specifically listening to an episode I wasn't on.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
It's John's fault. Talk to the core at gmail.com is where he sent it. Says, I wake up a lot in the middle of the night and I listen to podcasts to calm my mind and go back to sleep. This is part of the problem. I recently had this happen and I chose to listen to episode 374 of the show, where the one where John popped into the episode to defend Final Fantasy 16. That was last week.
That's when I called in.
Yep. It says
Called into the show I'm on.
Couldn't take it.
He says, at some point I fell back asleep, but then John's face kept popping up in my dreams, talking about Final Fantasy. Not the most restful sleep, but that's okay. You guys are amazing. Love the core show. Regards, Kevin. I love that, John. You're in his dreams.
I'm sorry, Kevin. If you're a patron, Scott can get me your email and I'll send you an apology note.
I think that's great. Also, this happens to me.
Showed up in one of my dreams, but I don't want to talk about
John did? What?
Scott, you did.
Oh, I did. What happened? What did I do?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little dirty.
Really?
Whoa.
I don't even know what to say to that.
It was bad.
Now we get to use our imagination.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah. It wasn't with anything with you and
me. you gave him the lake run.
No, you were receiving something you shouldn't have outside of your marriage.
My gosh, why?
Oh,
with a woman named Oprah Winfrey, but she was a white lady, and that was a subject of interest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was in VR, and then you were outside of VR, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And then you were doing something with Oprah Winfrey, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Oh, I just found some audio from your dream. Let's see. This was me, I guess. Here we go.
Are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
All right, that's horrible.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, we don't have to go into detail, but it was
one detail I do wanna hang on because like it's scandalous, Scott, sure, but can we just
dream? It's not real.
Can we
guys.
just appreciate for a moment that Bo dreams about being in VR?
Yeah, I was in VR. That happened.
That Bo's happy dream place is like, if I was in a virtual world.
I'm glad
I'm in a dream world in a virtual world. It's
glad you said that. I missed that the first time over the dream there, but yeah, I love that you dream about VR. Whatever, you love VR. You're our VR advocate here. You love it.
I'm definitely acolyte.
Yeah, you're the guy.
John likes to point out.
I love it. You're Zuckerberg wishes you were everywhere, not just one of you, but many of you. That's what he wants.
Well, maybe you should go work for Meta. You guys think I should ask?
I don't know. Why not?
Yeah. Like you've already probably sold at least 2 headsets.
Easily. You know how many? You should work at Ambernick. We sold so many Ambernicks. Freaking, they owe us big time.
I think I need a visa for China though, right?
Yeah, you got to have no English skills whatsoever when you go there. Okay, because their advertising on Amazon is hilariously badly spelled. It's great. All right, we got to get to this mashup. We saved it because John's back, and we didn't want to blow a mashup while John was out of town. So we're gonna do this one now. It's from Jamie. He puts these together. He took a vote. It's called Dragon AIDS Oranges. I don't know what to read into that. I won't say anything. They voted, and 58% of you think I said it, 26% think Bo said it, and 16% think John said it. I have zero memory of this at all. So we're going to play
I picked you, Scott.
Did you?
Because I think I played the meta game and said, surely Jamie's not going to pick Bo like 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, we did do a lot of
That was
Bo.
my logic.
Yeah,
because I don't remember.
I don't remember at
all.
all.
I know it wasn't me. I might have to be wrong, but I pretty much can guarantee by the end of this it's not going to be me.
It'll be really funny if it is you. But I voted for Bo because I just don't remember saying it, but maybe I did.
I think I voted for John too.
Did you?
Dragon AIDS Oranges?
Yeah, Dragon AIDS
I
Oranges.
do like Dragon Age, but I'm pretty sure I've never said the word Dragon AIDS Oranges.
I think someone just messed up and said...
You're the least prone to malapropisms out of the 3 of us. So, yeah.
No, you're right.
That's right.
You're right. Bo and I are in perpetual tongue twister mode, and we don't do that very well. But Dragon AIDS Oranges is probably supposed to be Dragon Age Origins.
Yeah.
But I don't know who would have effed that up worse. So we'll find out now when I hit play on this right now.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Pikmin.
Pikmin who?
Pikmin butt, please.
What? Really? That was the joke.
I think pussy's okay. Yeah. It's okay.
That would have been perfect time for Keegan Michael Keel, or however you say his name, to go.
Keegan Michael Keel?
Not like that.
What is it?
I don't know.
Keegan
I'm not gonna try. I can't top
Peel? No, Peel's the other guy. Jordan Peele.
Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah, Key and Peele, duh.
That you're thinking.
The other mechanic that's unique to this is that there are droughts.
Drought is what I believe what you mean.
Yeah, there are droughts.
Is the drought a separate thing, or did you mean drought back then too?
No, I meant that too.
There's a drought and a drought. drought.
A draught is a drink.
It's the same thing, right? Or is they two different things?
I thought a draught was a drink.
That's a draft. I'll figure that out later.
I'm
My
excited.
wife was talking about the 10 hams thing yesterday.
Yeah.
And she goes, okay, but is it for like the number or FOR 10 hams? Is 10 spelled out? And I said, I don't know. That's the point of it.
I don't even know.
Nobody knows.
I just know
Nobody knows what he's trying to say.
When the phone number comes up, you say 10 hams. That's all I know. And people laugh.
1-800-10 hams.
I don't know what else to call it. It's 10 ham. Well, no. So it's 1-801-10. No, wait.
TEN or the number 10?
The number 10, and then HAMS. But I think
That's
that
not
S.
enough digits.
Well, no. You go 801-47-10 ham. No. Where does the 1 come from? Hold on. Gosh dang it. 801.
You can't explain it.
7. Okay, so what it must be, if I remember I did this right. Oh, okay, that's what it is. It's 801-47-10 hams. So it's actually got extra letters in it.
So it's 4,710 hams.
Yeah, well, yeah, actually. That's a good way of putting it. You know what? We're changing it.
Nobody's going to remember that.
801-407. No, wait. 407. No, where is the 10? It has to be. You have to.
It's like a different type of dwarf for elf, like a drow.
Is that a draw or a drow? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I think it's drow, but
he was a
for
drow.
most of my life I called them dro, and then there's some nerd rant by somebody who's saying it's
drow.
not drow, it's dro. And I was like, okay, well.
I thought it was drow.
Oh, wait, maybe
No,
it's
it's
reversed.
drow.
Skyrim has drows in it, and I thought they've said it. They come out and go, hello.
There's
It's a
no
drow.
drow in Skyrim.
It's
Those
drow.
are
You
big
can't have a show
Draugr.
on Netflix.
Oh,
if you
Draugr is
dress
what I'm
up
thinking
as a
of.
drow.
I'm thinking about
Draugr.
Draugr.
Yeah,
I think it's actually Draugr or Draugr.
Draugr or Draugr.
I don't know how to pronounce anything anymore.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm pretty sure I've been saying all along that men can do kegels.
You were early on that.
Kegels? Wait, do you bagel kegels?
It's pronounced
baggled
kegels. That's how you pronounce it. Kegel.
I thought it was Kegels.
No.
Who says? Says you. You said,
Kegels.
but you say
Ask
Begles.
OpenGPT.
Oh
What's
my
how you
God.
pronounce kegels?
John, you
Kegels.
say Begles though. I've heard you do it.
I know I say bagels weird, but like this is a different word, you guys.
I think it's Kegels. Keegan Michael Kegel. That's it.
I got a case of the kegels
Yeah, I
this
got a
morning.
case of the
I
kegels.
couldn't control them.
Yep. Poinpee is amazing.
What?
Why we talked
What'd
about it on
you
the show
just
before.
say?
It's called Poinpee. Poinpee.
Point pose, point P is what I heard.
Point pose, point pee.
Poinpee.
Point
Hold on.
pose, point P is a great.
I reviewed it here once. Yeah, Poinpee. That's the name of it.
There isn't a Dragon Age Origins that was was developed in
Oh
Japan.
shit!
Did you
Oranges.
say Dragon Age oranges?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might. I'm a little tired. Dragon Age Origins.
I'm interested in Dragon because you said Dragon AIDS. So Dragon
Dragon
AIDS
AIDS
oranges. I want Dragon AIDS oranges. That's what I want. Both said it.
No, I said Dragon
Scott
Age.
said it. Yeah.
I said
Scott.
Dragon Age Oranges.
Did you
and
not say
said, I want
AIDS?
I didn't say AIDS. You threw the AIDS in
I
there.
threw the AIDS in. Damn it.
You gave the AIDS, not me.
All right. Well, I guess that's good because everybody won and chose the right thing.
We
So,
kind of all crafted that one, but I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
that is a Scott victory in the end.
yeah, I think it was but it's still a team effort.
Good team effort, though. Man,
Yeah.
that was a long one.
It was a
Holy
long
shit.
one and a good one. It's very good. 4 minutes. He adds like a
knock.
minute or he adds like 10 seconds every week so that we don't notice that there's like we're
Yeah,
up to
but
4
that
minutes.
one like had a lot of golden moments for sure.
Yeah, it should have been called the "We Don't Know How to Pronounce Shit" episode of the mashup.
It's pretty bad, you
What's
guys. We are getting senile, I guess. Eh? Like it's happening.
I don't know. Maybe I'm leading the charge.
we won't know. We'll be the last to know.
Yeah, we wouldn't. You never know when you're senile. You only know when other people are. You only worry that you are, but when you actually are, you stop worrying and you don't notice.
The show ends and we all just go tell our significant others that the other two are losing it, and then we come back on and be friends, and
Yeah.
then slowly we all three just decline
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah, and the show accelerates it somehow. Oh well, what are you gonna do? All right, we're gonna get out of here, but before we do, a reminder that we are supported by our good people out there in our Patreon. Man, you guys are so awesome. Patreon.com/core show. If you've not supported the show yet or thought to, maybe go find out why you might want to. There's some great monthly benefits like art in the mail that you're not going to get anywhere else, pre-show content every week, host specials. I got one going up shortly before the month ends that'll come from me, and no ads from that feed, all that kind of stuff. So go sign up today. Be a part of it. Be a bigger part of it. Patreon.com/core. show. Before we get out of here, let's have Grandma tell us what we played. Hey, Grandma, what did we play today?
Oh, so you made it to the end of the show and you want to know what the boys are playing because you forgot because it happened 17 hours ago.
Yeah.
Well, Scott's playing a little Star Trek Online, a little Trials of Mana, Tectonica. He said Tectonica.
Tectonica. Very close.
Tectonica.
Yeah.
I think he called it Tectonic. He left the A out and it confused me further. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. He played that. He didn't really talk about it. He actually spent more time talking about how he uninstalled Final Fantasy 16 than what he did in Ratchet and Clank, but I'm sure it's very good.
Yeah.
John finished Final Fantasy 16, so between Scott uninstalling and him finishing, I'm sure we'll never hear about it ever again.
Nope.
He's playing Halls of Torment. That's the Vampire Survivors-like game, and wrestling continues unabated. No matter how much you skip, it's always going to be there the next week. Bo played Diablo 4 Hardcore, and then he died.
Wow.
So then he played Yakuza Like a Dragon to make up for it and feel better, and it worked.
Yeah, it's a good game. I'm going to play that this weekend because of Bo, and then next week he'll say, "Oh, I fell off that. I hate that game. I'm never playing it."
Oh no! I'm committed.
Oh, you're committed this time.
Scott.
Okay.
Like I'm finishing this game. Yes.
All right. Well,
and which means I maybe not finish it, but I'll play it a lot.
Yeah, if you're doing like me, I don't know what your chances are like.
Yeah,
but we'll be back next week. Now, a reminder: we're not going to be here Thursday, so it's technically a little more than a week. John's out of town and I'm out of town, so no show next Thursday. But we will be doing one Monday when we're all back. Monday night, same time as usual, 5 p.m. at frogpants.tv on Monday, the 31st. Okay? So we're going to kick July right in the nuts and do one as we leave the month. So write that down in your little books or whatever you do for your dates. Okay, everybody? That's next, or Monday after next, I guess is the way I should say it. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening, for watching, for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Until next time, bye.
Get more at frogpants.com.
Whoops.
You were all...
Oh, that didn't play right at all. Those are all the
You
wrong
were
files.
almost a Jill sandwich.
Damn it.